Yo, what's going on, everybody? I am AKEagles, and welcome in. Listen, tonight is a big night, and I am joined by two very special friends of mine, Birdman951 and Pablo Gary too. Appreciate you guys for joining me. Might have some other people joining us here in a little bit as well. King might swing by for a little, and also Joe Castro maybe. So we will see what's going to happen there. But King's definitely coming. It will be about 30 minutes from now or so. Uh, but yeah, I wanted to welcome everyone tonight. Like I said, is a big night. This is a rebrand, a new step into a direction that I see this channel going into the future, and you know, I'm trying to get away from the uncensored part of myself and try and be more professional, try and bring uh, more calmer and just adult conversation and discussion to uh, the channel. Just kind of be calm and just do our shop talk, kind of like Pablo does on his, but just be able to be mature, share the audience, and just also drop knowledge as well. So I appreciate everyone coming in and joining us tonight. So go ahead, why don't you guys shout yourselves out?
What is up, everybody? It's Birdman951 on the West Coast, representing one of the greatest fan bases in the country. And it's my pleasure to be working with AK. We've been probably closing in on a year pretty soon, I think.
Yes,
And I got some new adventures, and I'm kind of right there with you, AK, as far as like kind of changing the tune with my channel and everything. I'm now a part of Elite Superfans, and I'm going to have my first like appearance in Las Vegas during the draft, which will be at the Golden Nugget. And you can go to my video I just dropped earlier for more information if you'd like to attend. There's going to be every kind of super fan there. Probably more Raiders because it is in Las Vegas, but it's all good. I'm holding it down. And just got news today that Philly sports guy is also going to be there. So there will be another Eagles fan. And I can't wait, man. It's exciting. And they're just this group is just about, fans with this kind of like stop the fan violence. They have a great message, and it's an anti-bullying thing, and just causing awareness. And I'm gonna be a part of all these like charity events, and I'm gonna try to hold my own. I'll always let you guys know what you can do to help. AK knows what that means about helping. If you guys follow him, you guys know what that's about. And I think this fan base kind of gets a bad rap. And if you don't really know this fan base like I do, you're highly mistaken. This is a great fan base. Yes, we love our football team to death, man. It's like one of our major things. But as far as like things that happened in the past, I think that the Eagle fan base has kind of made a major turn than what it used to be. Not that problems don't happen now, but you know I want I want to represent the Philadelphia Eagles and their fans to the fullest. So it's going to be my privilege to do that and make awareness.
yeah, man. No, I really like what you're doing there. I know about the elite super fan, and the woman that runs it. She's a very good woman. She does a lot for everyone, all 32 teams, and they do some good things over there, man. So I'm happy to hear you're a part of that, and you're only going to make it better. So
Appreciate that.
no problem, man. What's good, Pablo?
Nothing much, man. I want to apologize for the camera, but yeah, man. Want to first congratulate you on the rebrand and just the pivot of your vision, for the Philadelphia Eagles. Man, I think it's really cool that other Eagle content creators are actually joining forces and coming together to support you, and your move and doing something different. I think that really speaks volumes to who we are as a fan base. And I think Birdman, sort of speaking to your initiative, that's what we're really wanting people to, know about, Eagles fans. That is more than just the passion. It's the people behind the passion, and the fact that we all can come together to support you. AK is an awesome thing to do, and yeah, again, man, I just appreciate you having me on your first episode. It's an honor. I'm excited to talk Eagle football with you guys tonight.
I appreciate you joining us, man. I was hoping, I knew it was last minute, but I was like, damn, wonder if Pablo is available. You know, and
Yeah,
luckily you were. So it's an honor having you on, man.
thank you.
No problem. So the first thing I want to talk to you guys about, and in all honesty, it's probably the most important person out of all this, is Howie Roseman. You know, um, uh, we saw he got extended. I'm not sure exactly how I feel about that yet, but I'm still trying to wrap my head around it. I believe it was still a little premature and early. You know, I would have waited, but that's just me. But how do you guys feel about him still, even after last year's draft and how everything worked out this past season and where we sit now? Where do you guys sit on Howie? Like, are you good? Like for 1 year to see what happens. I mean, are you still done with him? Like, let's talk about him a little bit. Whoever wants to go first.
Go ahead, PG.
Uh, I think when it comes to Howie Roseman, um, I just feel like there's this feeling around Philadelphia where we just kind of had it with him. You know what I mean? You talk about someone who's been with this organization for what, over 20 years? Obviously, not in the role as a general manager, but just being a part of the entire organization for over 20 years. Um, he's been here for a while. And, my thing with Howie Roseman is yes, he helped bring a Super Bowl to Philadelphia. Yes, there were some great moments, during his time as a general manager. But when you write down, the good and you compare it to the bad, I don't care what Jeffrey Lurie says, I would be one to say that there's more bad than good. And the
Yeah.
bad is not just bad. These are like life altering, franchise changing sort of misses that he has been a part of. You think back, as recent as Jalen Rager. Think about Nelson Aguilar. You think about some may say Derek Barnett, some may say Marcus Smith. He has been a part of, a lot of these draftings. He's been a part of a lot of these signings. For me, if this is not going to be Howie Roseman's last, um, I would say year, I'm okay with Jeffrey Lurie giving them 3 years. When you put your team in a position where they have three first round picks, you deserve to be able to semi see it through. But after this contract, I don't know, man. I think I'm done with Howie Roseman. I can't see Howie Roseman connected to the Philadelphia Eagles franchise for over 25 years.
How about you, Birdman?
Woo! Pablo, he kind of knows where I'm feeling the same. It's just like I feel that when he does good things, he feels like that he earned something. Where it's just like he gets to do some things that don't make sense. I'm gonna sign. What's geez, drawing a blank here. What's Greg Ward? I'm gonna sign Greg Ward. And I like Greg Ward. I know what he did, but it's like you're kind of like bringing everything back. You're kind of doing like a rewind thing. Even you could use Derek Barnett. Who else? Boston Scott. I didn't see enough production from them to make me think like, oh God, Greg Ward is. Oh my God, I'm gonna go get me a Greg Ward jersey. This guy is gonna, dude. They're not even really using him right. So it's real frustrating because it's in one way he's kind of trying to save money for and making us feel that he's going to do a big blockbuster move, but then it just kind of feels like no, he's not. He's just kind of staying afloat, and we're seeing everybody kind of just like disappear. Everybody that could be an Eagle, someone else grabbed them, and not for very much. Even like, I mean, Amari Cooper didn't even look like that was very expensive cost. I know sometimes it doesn't work. We bring a Cowboy player in, and it hasn't really worked in our favor so much. So it just seems like everybody's kind of passing us by, and I kind of I don't know, maybe I was feeling different with this year, especially that everybody's kind of thinking like Jalen is going to have a really great season. And I can't really blame Jalen if he kind of has a repeat season, because we're not really putting the weapons around him. And even with the running back room, we could say nice things about Gainwell. Is Gainwell a number one running back in the league? Probably not, but he's a nice 2-3.
Mm-hmm.
But I just don't see where we're going to make that climb up this year. And it feels like we're all waiting to see what Howie's going to do in the draft. Are we going to be let down, or is he going to shock us, or is it just going to be a safe pick where we have to kind of say, well, there's potential. We'll see what happens, and we kind of have to wait again. And it sucks that to tell the Eagle fans to sit there and wait again, it's very hard to just sit back and enjoy the ride, because number one is like, I don't feel he's really comfortable with Jalen. And the other thing is, I don't even think Nick Sirianni's comfortable with Jalen. If those two don't get it together, it's just not going to work. No matter how high we put Jalen Hurts, if Nick Sirianni don't make this work with him, it's just going to fall apart.
What's up, Lindy? Appreciate you coming on, man.
What's up, Lindy?
I just thank you for the invite, AK. Good to be a part of the the rebrand stream, and the different future that you're looking forward to your channel. It looks a lot more professional, decorated, and
Appreciate it.
natural to your being, I guess I could say at the least there. So yeah, congratulations, man.
Yo, and no lie, I gotta give this man right here on the channel right now a shout out, Gio from the 215. Listen, me and Gio, we went at it from 10:45 p.m. last night to about 4 this morning working on this logo and thumbnail and everything. So, we damn near put 5 hours into this, and I appreciate him and sticking with me. I have a creative mind, but when it comes to actually making things, it sometimes always isn't there. And he's the man that could make my vision reality, and he did that. So shout out to Gio and all the work he does, for the logos for me and Vic and Foothills and Eats Meets West and stuff. He does fabulous work, so appreciate you, man. Thank you. But I wanted to ask you, now that you're here, man, how do you feel about Howie? He got an extension this year. It's like I told them, was it deserved so soon? In my eyes, no. I believe we could have waited a little while longer and make him, to at least see if he earned it. Especially after the draft. But where do you stand on him, and how do you feel going into this year, man?
Well, I mean, in terms of Howie being the GM, it's not like GMs are as easy to come by as players that they're that replaceable. When you put the amount of time that you did into an organization, good or bad, when you have the chemistry with the front office and you have the familiarity, with the franchise and the vision that Jeffrey Lurie wants to put to this football team, it's kind of hard to hit that reset button in terms of somebody that's constantly having the strength to control personnel with the way how he does. Is this to say that he's a man of invincibility? Absolutely not. Anyone is expendable, but it's based on their performance over a course of period of time. So I mean, we know his strengths, we know his weaknesses, and I think it's more about sustainability and continue to building on success and staying consistent and allowing the football team to continue to elevate instead of either plateauing or dropping back to a vision that the fans just don't want to see, in continuing to battle in the NFC least and us wanting to be the top dogs year in and year out as we so very well deserve. But like I said in the beginning, it's when you think of the difficulty in trying to replace a GM and the amount of work that they have or have not done. It's not like signing a different player and hoping, plug and play and hoping that they work. There's a little more involved to it. So we just got to hope that Howie stays down the right path in terms of how we see this football team to continue to succeed.
Now I got to ask you guys, what do you honestly feel this was premature? Like, do you feel that it should have been, if you were going to extend him, if you were Jeffrey, you should have waited towards the end of the year to see how this draft made it and worked out, and to see how the season went before you actually gave it to him? Or
Um, I think so. Because I think Lenny just sort of alluded to it when you talk about Howie's biggest weakness. You know, this is a prime time off season, right? So Howie's biggest weakness is sort of paired with our greatest strength this off season, right? So he's not known for picking well,
yeah,
but the Eagles have 3 first-round picks, right? So if I'm Jeffrey Lurie, I probably would have waited to see what he would have done with those 3 first-round picks, really just to see if there would be some consistency that would come out from whatever he did, right? And so one thing that I'll sort of point to is I'm scared again because I just know how he is not a great talent evaluator, and we have 3 first-round picks. Having a guy who can't pick with a bunch of picks is a disaster. I'm really interested to see if he's going to commit to Jalen Hurts, right? Is he going to allow these 3 first-round picks to sort of burn a hole in his pocket? You get on TV, you talk to the fans, you address the fans, and you tell us, well, hey, I'm committed to Jalen Hurts. He's our guy. And then 2 seconds later, we see reports coming out about how Howie Roseman is trying to now stockpile draft picks for next year to take a quarterback next year, right? So if I'm Jeffrey Lurie, I need to see the vision. Right now, I'm not seeing Howie Roseman's vision, but I think unfortunately we're going to have to wait till after the draft. We're going to have to wait till after the draft to see what really comes, to the table.
Birdman, Lindy, either one of you?
Let me. Oh, okay. So let me ask you guys this, and it could just be real quick. And both of them could happen, but you have to choose one. Would you rather get the quarterback now and use all 3 picks, or use only 2 picks and we trade away that third? This is for the first round. We trade around that third third first round because he's going to get the quarterback next year.
Is there an
So you
option
guys-
C?
No.
There's always
it's
an
tough.
option C.
It's tough because it in a way I feel that that's going to happen no matter what.
Second option.
Because
Then.
Hey,
second,
Birdman, I'm sorry, bro. Can you repeat the question again?
yeah. So both things are going to happen, and like I'm saying, there. So you got to pick your poison. Would you rather get the quarterback now and use all 3 picks for the first round? We're going to use all 3, 15, 16, 19, or use only 15, 16 and trade that third one for the quarterback next year.
When you say get the quarterback now for the first option, are we referring to Jalen Hurts as being the guy?
This quarterback, it doesn't mean it's his replacement. It's just a quarterback. It doesn't mean he's going to be any better than Jalen. It's just a quarterback.
Okay. Yeah, honestly, for me, that's tough. That's really tough. For me, whatever option allows us to build around Jalen Hurts. Listen, man, this is the thing. Like, it's a big risk, either way, But I feel like you have enough, data. You have enough film. You have enough tape out there on Jalen to make a educated guesstimation on what his future is going to look like. You know, People say, well, should we keep Jalen or stay, or move on from him? Man, we got to look at it from this perspective. We saw what just happened to Carson Wentz, right? Can't handle the media here, can't handle the Philadelphia culture. I think our problem is not, can we find a player to come to Philadelphia? And I'm sorry, a quarterback that could come to Philadelphia. I think the biggest issue is, can we find somebody that can come to Philadelphia, not just play quarterback, but also handle everything that comes with it. It's not just about playing quarterback. And I think when you have a guy who has showed even a little bit of talent, right, and he has showed that he can handle Philadelphia, that right there is a recipe for success. I don't know too many quarterbacks that can play in Philadelphia and do both, right? My thing is, if you don't build around Jalen Hurts, right, you for me, I feel like you run the risk of losing this locker room. Like if in the draft, right, if the Eagles say, you know what, we want to use the 2 first-round picks on 2 defensive players, right, and they trade the 19th pick. If I'm Jalen Hurts, I'm requesting a trade. Because what you're telling me is, number one, you're not giving me any help. Number two, you're trying to play the down road game and stockpile picks for next year and not commit to me, right? So, we see these teams make decisions for themselves. If I'm Jalen Hurts, I'm going to make a decision for myself. I hope I answered your question the right way. I'm not sure if I did. It's just kind of a tough hypothetical, but ultimately, I think the Eagles should definitely build around Jalen Hurts because what other options do you have? That would be sort of my final take on that.
And then can I ask Lindy a question real quick?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Hey, Lindy, if the team is kind of set up, like just say we kind of, we do get some nice pieces on defense, but he still kind of doesn't address the offense. Maybe he gets a receiver toward the later rounds or even a running back. But nothing that stands out to you be like, oh my God, we got this guy's receiver. If he kind of leaves the offense like this, do you think that's going to be a great setup for Jalen Hurts to be, take it to the next level with what he has right now?
I mean, you can realistically split it down the middle. Camaraderie is a very important element when it comes to the quarterback of a football team. Knowing the players that they are working with, week in, week out, day in, day out, and just getting better with who you have in front of you overall. I mean, and of course, this is this is completely different, because Tom Brady's a different quarterback, but we've seen him for how many years work with next to nothing, but because of the talent that he is, because of the quarterback he is, he's able to produce that kind of elevation regardless of the weapons around him. And this isn't to say that offensively the Eagles are a chopped liver. I mean, we believe we have a top 10 tight end in Dallas Goedert. If Miles Sanders remains healthy, he can be a top running back in the NFL, but he hasn't shown that because the best ability is availability. They have a lot of promise in Kenny Gainwell, who they're trying to get more snaps to. Quez Watkins is looking like, according to Sirianni, he's hoping for him to be one of the best number twos that he's ever worked with. So I mean, we can't talk about this like there's no promise on this football team offensively overall. It's just what can you do with the players that you currently have, and I think that is part of the test overall in terms of Jalen Hurts as a quarterback. Is he able to work with what he's given? Because not a lot of quarterbacks in this league possess that trait, and intangibly, it looks like Hurts is capable of doing so. But he has to work on the things that he needs to get better at. So, I mean, as long as Hurts continues to develop and he continues to show that what I can build myself into a franchise quarterback, then that's where the organization starts to continue to instill trust and be like, well, you know what, I think we have something here, and this guy has given us the opportunity. Well, let's see how he can handle a top tier receiver. Let's see how he can handle a top tier running back, so on and so forth. So as I look at this team right now, I don't think the process is done whatsoever, but I just don't want us to think that we are worse off than we currently are right now.
Yeah.
I want to make a statement about the whole Goddard thing. I understand that there was some hiccups the second half of the season, especially after Ertz got traded and the whole Hurts and Goddard connection. All right. One, I come to realize two things. One, Jalen Hurts' main tight end the first half of the season was Zach Ertz. He was our tight end one at the time. So all through OTAs, all through training camp, all that, that's who he became accustomed to, and that's who he got familiar with. And then you go and you trade him, and then week 8 or 9, whatever it was, Goddard stepped in, and he is now tight end one. He has to learn a whole new tight end halfway through the middle of the season. I understand there was probably a little connection there because in practice, of course, we do use tight end twos. So the ball was probably thrown to him, but not as much as what Hurts and Ertz threw to each other. It was constant. And you could see the connection there, and then you could not see it with Goddard. I mean, you all saw it with because in all honesty, Goddard's quarterback was Gardner Minshew during practice, and you could honestly see that during the Jets game. Goddard and Minshew had an amazing connection, because they always played together during practice. So I'm not too worried about Goddard. I'm not too worried. I believe he will be okay this year. In fact, I believe he'll have a breakout year this year. Because one, he is our tight end one, and two, that connection will be there this year. You won't have Ertz interrupting that connection, for the first half of the season. So, that's just my take on that one.
Yeah, and I will say I don't think he necessarily had to learn anything completely different other than being one of the focal points on the offense, knowing that Zach Ertz isn't there anymore. And that's one of the things that us Eagles fans have been wondering ever since Ertz got traded, or up until what seemed like an inevitable Ertz trade, was as soon as that transition was going to happen, we were wondering to ourselves, can Dallas Goedert handle being one of the one of the top pass catchers on that offense as soon as Ertz is gone? Is he going to be able to work with double teams? Is he going to be able to get open the way Ertz was able to? Because, Ertz wasn't a Pro Bowler for no reason. He was a fantastic route runner, and he knew how to use his body, his feet to get himself in space to be available to the quarterback. And while Goddard has done that here and there, now he just needs to build a consistency and understand that, you know what, I'm going to be one of the defense's top targets now. Ertz isn't here anymore. So I think it was more so that instead of him coming in trying to get his feet wet to a higher position on the team.
Yeah, and since we're talking about the tight ends, just really quick, one thing I will say is, while Dallas Goedert, obviously, in most of our minds, is obviously a top 10, top 15 tight end, I like to remind people, that, Carson Wentz had, not only did he have Zach Ertz, but he had another great tight end in Brent Selleck, all right?
Mm-hmm.
And his third tight end, what's my
Trey
guy?
Burton.
Trey Burton, all right? So those are three great tight ends. Trey Burton signed after the Super Bowl. He signed a deal with the Colts and became their number one tight end. So, I think we have to factor that part into it as well, man. Jalen Hurts literally has, Dallas Goedert and Howie Roseman gave him a quarterback who was transitioning to a tight end, right? So he's not even a legit tight end. He's a former quarterback transitioning. So I think that's something that we also have to keep in mind as well.
Ask Washington how Logan Thomas has looked. I mean, I don't think that necessarily matters to me as long as the transition is successful. Tyree Jackson was showing a lot of promise, and I think one of the tight end prospects in the draft was a quarterback converted tight end, and he's looking to be like a day two, like third or fourth round prospects. That's pretty decent. It's pretty decent for the tight end position. Do I think that we're going to look to the second round again for a tight end too? It very may well be possible. I mean, how old was Zach Ertz when we drafted Dallas Goedert? He was about Dallas's age, 27, 28. So it wouldn't surprise me if the Eagles continued that cycle, knowing that if Dallas doesn't play up to his contract, the further he gets along into that deal, he very well may be expendable, and the Eagles may have to move on if the tight end behind him shows promise. And right now, we're trying with a recuperating Tyree Jackson, and Jack Stoll was undrafted. So the depth at tight end is not very good. Although the fact that the team is going to look at playing a little more 11 personnel than 12, there might not be as many times that we see two tight ends on the field. But you have to imagine that, as much as we want a receiver, the tight end position is lacking depth as well.
Let me, okay, so I guess I'm going to bring a little dark cloud. All right. Miles Sanders, no touchdowns. Quez Watkins, 1 touchdown, 647 yards. Great on the yards, but 1 touchdown's not going to cut it for me. Dallas Goedert with Jalen Hurts towards the end, 1 out of 3 passes. You are hindering the progression of Jalen Hurts as well, and so is Quez. Jalen Reagor, 33 receptions, 299, 2 touchdowns. That's not going to cut it. No matter if he tries to get better or what. That's just a waste of our time. That no development is going to happen for Jalen. It's just we're going backwards.
Mm-hmm.
Kenneth Gainwell, he actually, when I'm looking at this, he actually should be the number 1 running back right now because he's 4.3 average, 5 touchdowns. I think I messed up on his yards, but 291 yards, I think. 291 yards, and he got 5 touchdowns. What are we doing?
No, I think he actually had 8 altogether because didn't he have 3 receiving touchdowns as well? So I think he had 8 altogether.
So my point being is like that repeat can't happen anymore. That's just not even middle of the pack to me. Dallas Goddard, is he in the top 10? Could be, but if you're dropping 1 out of 3 with Jalen, that's not. I mean, he had a easy catch, drops it on his shoe, and it's a interception. You just screwed us right there. You can't.
Mhm.
He's far beyond that, guys. Like and I'm with you guys. He's the top dog in Philly as far as tight end goes. Like, you can't do this no more. This, like, yeah, you're gonna miss some here and there. Jalen did float a few, whatever. But when that ball's in your hands, make the damn play. And like, I get upset. You let that guy sucker punch you in the bar. Like, come on, dude. You're a football player. You can't let that happen,
Mhm.
man.
Oh
But
God, I forgot.
that's what I'll say about that. That's all I'm going to say about that. But
Wow.
No, and this is a pretty good question by Richie, and I want to get your guys' opinion. You made a comment that we are looking to go to more 11 personnel. Do you guys feel that's going to affect our run game at all? Do you think we suffer a little bit on that moving to 11?
No, not when you have as prolific of an offensive line as you do. The biggest game changer is the fact that Jason Kelsey is coming back for another year. I feel if there was a lack of potential in Jalen Hurts, then Kelsey would have called it quits. So I think the players have an idea on where the team is going forward. I think they have an idea, where the head coach is going forward. And let's remember, the majority of this football team offensively was learning yet another new offense when they transitioned from Doug Peterson to Nick Sirianni. So there's a lot of nuance in there in terms of where the receivers have to be, at the peak of their route for the quarterback to hit them in the correct stride. So you got miscommunication there. You got the fact that Hurts, while we know isn't as great of a thrower right now in terms of arm strength. Maybe I've seen his arm strength, so I'm not really worried about it. He can improve on that. It's more, to me, it's more so timing and anticipation, and where he really suffered. I know a quarterback that plays for Baltimore that had the same problems, but we're making this more of a bigger deal with Hurts than we did with Lamar Jackson. That's not the here nor there. I thought I'd just throw it out there, but the point is, there's a lot more to it. There's a lot more to it than outside of Goddard dropping easy passes that are right in the breadbasket. There's more to it than saying that was a bad play because of the amount of transition that this team and the players were going through last year. And you can only go. They made the playoffs miraculously, but I think from here you can't go anywhere but up.
Yeah, I want to just take a second, man, just to, we talk about the players a lot. We say this drop or this fumble or this could happen, but ultimately we got to start holding these coaches responsible, man. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. There's a photo out there with Devontae Smith lining up at tight end next to Jordan Mailata, and it really makes me sick to my stomach because it really shows you what Jalen Hurts was really working with. And this is not a Jalen Hurts thing. I think it affects everybody in this offense. You look at Jalen Rager, we know that he can get better, but I think he was, affected every single time you turned around. He was doing the end around. Quez Watkins was doing the end around. Jordan Mailata was doing the end around. So this offense was vanilla. Nick Sirianni didn't know what he was doing. We as the fans at home knew that we needed to run the darn football the entire time. You got Jordan Howard on the sideline drinking Gatorade, should have been in the game. As much as we could talk about the players, I think ultimately we have to hold these coaches responsible. And that's just offense. I don't even want to get into the damn defense. All right, you talk about Jonathan Gannon still playing a million yards back. All right, he allows these these offenses to dink and dunk all the way down the football field, and it really does nothing for us. He comes here, he's pretty much making our key veteran players upset. Fletcher Cox, guys like that. I'm just not seeing it, and I think all of this was because of Howie Roseman's want to be in control, right? And so this team is not going to progress until we get competent, coaching. And I keep saying that. We talk about Jalen Hurts not being able to throw. Well, his first 4 games when he was under Doug Peterson, we all thought that he can throw the daggone football, right? So now when we get Nick Sirianni, the everything changes, right? So I think when you talk about having a former Division 3 wide receiver as your head coach, then we can start understanding where our problems lie and start fixing it. But I agree with Birdman. I feel like until Jalen Hurts and Nick Sirianni gets on the same page, it's going to be the same old stuff year in and year out.
Can I go next real quick?
Yeah.
Or,
Go
all
for it.
right, so 2 points. Oh, okay, one thing that I take away from the season, and like Pablo hit it on the head again with the coaching. Okay, the Atlanta game, I noticed we did something in that game. I know Atlanta's terrible, but the concept of what we were doing, the formula to what we needed to do to make this team go even further than what we did was there, which is we have our O-line. We had a bulldozer, a freight train, an ice cream truck, a tank, a Brinks truck. Why the hell did we stop this? Pave the damn lane, Sirianni. You had a formula that was working. You know how nice it is to run behind an ice cream truck and a tank and freaking a bulldozer? I mean, that's 20 yards. Eat, man. Like we like stupid Zeke doing that thing. We could do the same thing. I don't know why Nick Sirianni goes away from that. Like he tries to think outside the box. But that's one point. The other thing is that I remember I was watching Lindy watching the preseason game, and I believe Flacco was in instead of Jalen. And I remember it like it was yesterday. And shout out to Lindy for actually watching that live, man. But Lindy was on fire, dude, because they were doing some asinine, ridiculous things already in the preseason with no excuse whatsoever.
Yeah.
And Lindy was calling every. I'm driving the truck and I'm hearing Lindy. I'm not watching him, but I'm hearing him, and I'm like, "Son of a gun! Are you kidding? What? It's only 1 minute, 2 minutes went by again, and then okay, all right, let Lindy cool off a little bit. Maybe it's gonna get better in the second, and boom, here goes it. It was just a catastrophe, and it just. I don't like that we do the protection thing on Jalen. I don't want to put no security. Let the guy play in the preseason. Let his feet get wet. Let him do that connection. Why you have Flacco Taco out there getting passes to JJ Arcega-Whiteside? What are we doing here? That was totally ridiculous. You keep telling me that Hurts is the guy, but you're not even making him the guy. You didn't even make him the guy in preseason because you thought Deshaun Watson was going to fall in your lap, and you waited to the last minute. I didn't like that, guys. I didn't like it. It did not make me feel comfortable. I didn't know what we were doing, and I feel like we're kind of in that same kind of quicksand again because I feel like we don't know. All of us in this room know what we need to do, but it just seems like they find ways to find out what not to do, and there's just like we're putting all these pieces together, and it's always I got to look at what Howie's doing. I got to look what Nick Sirianni's doing. I got to look what Gannon's doing, and then now I got to critique the guy. So right now, this is a big mess, guys. This is a huge mess, and I don't know if this season we can fix this. Especially, what the hell are we gonna do in this draft? I mean, woo. So.
No, I feel you, man, and that's one thing I've said about Howie for a long time is, I truly feel this man tries so hard to do things out of the ordinary to catch people off guard and to think outside the box and to think so far fetched the other direction that somebody else isn't thinking to try and catch one quick, and it backfires on us more than it benefits us. Like I'm just tired of taking hopes and dreams, and I just want to start taking answers, and I want to take the definite. I'm tired of looking at somebody and saying, "Oh, well, he could be this." No, look at the guy that's there and say, "No, he is this, and he's going to be this." That's the one I want. But I'm tired of us also looking at our wide receiver group and frowning upon it and not caring. Where's our Julio Jones? Where's our Devontae Adams? Where's our T.O.
Cooper Cup,
Our Cooper Cup? Like
Debo.
we have been in need for a wide receiver for 20 years, man. And listen, yes, Djax, I get it. But you know what, Djax, I'm not going to discredit him, but I will say this. He was only so good in our eyes because everyone else sucks so bad. And I'm not gonna lie. Like if he had more competition on this wide receiver core and stuff, he wouldn't have stood out as well. You know what I'm saying? Like if you had a Julio Jones on this group, it would have evened itself out. But we put so much pressure on one person all the time. Like no lie, Devontae Smith is gonna have the pressure on him for the next 5 years.
AK, what do you really quick?
Yeah.
I kind of disagree, but let me ask you this question: What do you think about? Did he not have Jeremy Maclin?
Jeremy Maclin, Riley Cooper. I think Jason Avant was still there at some
Yeah,
point.
but guys, I'm talking about an all-star wide receiver here. Somebody that truly sets the tone, like a Calvin Johnson, a Devontae Adams. That type of receiver. We've never had that ever. That's what I'm talking.
Our rookie had almost 1,000 yards in his first year. That's something to build on. I mean, I don't know.
That's not what I'm saying, dude.
No, I feel you. I feel you. I mean, I think the closest wide receiver. I mean, I guess we have to throw Harold Carmichael out there just because it's a Hall of Famer. But that's not it. That's not our era. I would say the closest guy is Terrell Owens. I would say, yeah, I think Deshaun Jackson was a guy. He was a he was a superstar, right? So
yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's debatable.
Oh.
So let's say real quick, guys.
You mean someone homegrown, AK?
Right.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Like somebody that we draft in the draft and we get, and he's ours for, like Devontae Adams up till this year. Green Bay drafted him. He was homegrown in Green Bay. He was there up till this year. Calvin Johnson spent his whole year in Detroit. Not that he wanted to, but he did. Same with Julio up till last year. Like that's what I'm talking about. We need to start getting our own homegrown wide receivers, man. Ones that we draft.
But
like,
not to cut you off, but I have to piggyback on what you're saying because it really just goes back to Howie Roseman. Every single wide receiver that we all can agree on to say if they were in Philadelphia, they would be the elite wide receiver that you're talking about. The Eagles had a shot at Stephon Diggs. The Eagles had a shot at Deebo Samuels. The Eagles had a shot at DK Metcalf. The Eagles had a shot at all of these wide receivers. I'm going to just say this. Until Howie Roseman puts his pride aside, Philadelphia will not have success. When you think about what Howie Roseman did in terms of putting the team together the Super Bowl year, he put together an all-star roster, especially when you look at it now, right? Joe Douglas at the time was an assistant, right? He's a general manager now. You give Carson Wentz, a head coach right now, obviously not then, but now in Frank Reich. He has Doug, who's a head coach, Super Bowl winner. John DeFilippo, he was a quarterbacks coach. He left to become a head coach for the Chicago Bears. So for me, it's Howie Roseman, man. It's Howie Roseman. And you guys, AK, you asked that question earlier. How do we feel about, Howie? And now that we're really starting to peel the layers back on this guy, we are suffering. Philadelphia Eagles fans, everything. Philadelphia is now suffering because of the decisions that Howie Roseman made. When you talk about, what does it feel like to pick JJ Arthega? I'm gonna change his last name, JJ Arthega backside, What does it feel like to change? To pick him,
Thanks.
because I mean he's been playing like straight backside, right?
Yeah.
So, what does it feel like to pick JJ over DK? This is what it feels like, bro. We are in right now in Philadelphia. We are feeling the wrath. Philadelphia is feeling the wrath of Howie Roseman's vision, his mistakes. And the thing about it is he won't stop. And you guys got to understand his background. When Howie Roseman first came into the league, nobody would give him a shot. Not even as the money guy. It was until it was in 2014 when Andy Reid gave him the vice president of player personnel role, right? So this guy, he's just, he's out to prove something. And I'm sitting up there saying, my man, you got a Super Bowl. Drop the pride. Like, let other people come in and do their job. But Howie won't let it happen.
No, man. Yeah, 1 second, man. No lie. I'm with you. It's not just a one-man operation. It's a collective thing, and that's something he should have learned from 17, because it took everyone to learn or to win in 17, and you think he would have seen that and understood that, but instead, we all say that the owners and the GMs have the biggest egos in all of the NFL. Well, if that's the case, I don't even want to know what his ego looks like now.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I agree.
Go ahead, bro.
Okay, so, man, I'm lucky I got my little notepad here, because you guys, when I'm listening to you guys keep making me think even more. So one thing we're talking about, now you're making me think about the wide receivers. So the best trio, I think I want to say, and you could add the tight end if you want. So I think the best trio we've seen was Mac, Jack, and Avant, right? It was mixed in with Selleck. So I think, and I don't know how long they were together, but I think they might be the best trio that we've had in Philadelphia Eagles history. I got to look at the numbers and all that, but I think so, man. And then the other one that was comparable would be our Super Bowl run, which is Alshon Nelson and Torrey Smith mixed in with Zach Ertz. But they didn't stay together that long, but I got to look at the numbers. So that's one thing I want to look at. You guys brought up the point, but I mean, even at that, Mac, Jackson, and Avant, like that's what we got. That was the best we've got so far. And I don't even think we've broken the mold on that. We could do way better than that, but that's the highest we've gone so far, except for our Super Bowl run. And then the other thing I wanted to ask you, gentlemen, was what makes Howie Roseman and Jeffrey Lurie think that they're so much better than everybody else? Because how is it that we broke the nucleus of the Super Bowl team because we couldn't keep the coach, we couldn't keep this guy, we couldn't keep LeGarrette Blount, we gotta let go? Why in the world would you win a Super Bowl and the following year you take a stick of dynamite and you just blow it to kingdom come? Because we are that good. When I got to look at the Patriots, and they keep their coaches forever, for as long as they want, pay that man that money. But no, Jeff Lurie and Howie Roseman said, no, we're not doing that. Carson's going to be back. He's going to be just fine. Well, he was not. But what is it with this organization, wins a Super Bowl, and we can't keep the pieces that got us there? And I got to look at Tampa Bay. They're keeping their squad together. They even got the GOAT to come at it, to retire, unretire. I don't even know what the hell's going on. And then I got to look at the Rams. The Rams are still eating, and everybody, all the fans keep telling me to shut up because we're trying to save money while everybody's eating. I got to save money. So maybe the Eagle fans need to save some money too. Stop buying all this damn merch. But we're such diehard fans, it doesn't help. But That's
No,
just another
I
thing.
feel you, man, and I'll let these guys answer your question. But real quick, East Coast Gridiron, appreciate you, man, for coming through. You've been here the last couple episodes, so thank you. I've
Yeah,
noticed. But
that's
yeah,
Dante.
no lie though, you say, we don't know depression, dude. Do you know the Eagles in the '70s, '80s, and '90s? That was depression.
Kevin
Right?
Cough depression.
We know depression. Trust me, Eagle fans know depression. I understand Jacksonville has not been very successful, but even though we've been winning like this decade, our history was pretty crappy at the beginning, man. I ain't gonna lie. Go back and look at it. So we know what it's like to be depressed. Trust me, we're in it right now.
Like think about it. We're probably the only franchise in NFL history that has 3 first-round picks, and we're still depressed. We're freaking scared of the draft. Like this is
Yeah,
this is
that's
supposed to
so
be
true.
exciting. This is supposed to be like new, like we're literally ushering in like hopefully 3 new, like the next generation of Eagles.
We're Super Bowl bound, but instead we're up here. How are we going to screw this up?
But and I'm just saying, real quick before I forget. And Pablo is so damn right, dude.
I'm telling you.
I mean, dude, we could literally give one of our first round picks and go get some dynamic player that's it. I mean, can you imagine a Debo here or a freaking DK here? You know how excited I would be, whether you think Jalen is the guy or not. You cannot stop that excitement, dude. And then knowing the potential. If Lindy's believing right now, and AK and Pablo believe right now, can you imagine actually bringing the guy here? I would fly him on a private jet, roll the magic carpet out. This guy can eat whatever he wants. But no, we go get Zach Pascal on a freaking riverboat and bring him over here. Be like, hey, right this way, Pascal.
But
you're the new guy and new sheriff in town.
With Birdman, I want to add to that, man, because the reason why depression really lives in Philadelphia, right? And I want to tread lightly on that word because I know there are some people that actually struggle with this. But in this context, the reason why it feels like depression is because, we can look at, JJ and see what DK Metcalf is doing. We can look at Jalen. We have these constant reminders. Then you look at Jalen and you see Justin. It's like it's every day. It's like it stabs you in your back every single day. You feel it, you breathe it, and it freaking sucks. Think about it. The Philadelphia Eagles, our wide receiver room could literally be Hollywood Brown because the Eagles selected Andre Dillard over Hollywood Brown. We could have DK Metcalf, and we could also have Justin Jefferson. So just like that, we could have one of the best wide receiver cores in all of football, right? Not even just, talk about generations, but in all of football for years to come. But look where we are.
No, I feel
you. Sorry, AK, but
no, go for it, buddy. Go.
To me, with what this franchise is continuing to go through, is it fair to say that there's a bit of an egotistical warfare going on right now with some of the hierarchies in the franchise? With whether it's Jeffrey Lurie's vision or Howie Roseman's vision, and then you got Sirianni coming in along for the ride as as a test subject to see what he can do under the conditions. I mean, that sounds most realistic at this point, and I think I think that there has been too many years as of recently where there has obviously been a bit too much conservativeness with and the GM and the owner can say all they want that we're not just going to go out there and pay for the big names because of their name. I mean, sometimes that's the difference. Sometimes that's the difference maker, and what makes your team a 7-win team to a 10-win team, or so on and so forth. I mean, it's not just the name, and it's not just the name, it's also the talent. And sometimes we feel that they forget to acknowledge that. But no, I mean, in terms of bringing people here, all I know is that Hertz maybe behind the scenes is trying to get AJ Brown over here, but who knows? We don't even we can't even believe in stuff like that anymore, because all they are is pipe dreams and stuff that just doesn't seem realistic, because we unfortunately know of the situation that we're in with this front office, that they're that most cases they're not willing to plunge and whatnot. And quick note for those talking about Tyrann Mathieu and people saying that, oh, he wants too much money or he's too expensive and yada yada, and we be going backwards because of his age. Hold up. Did we not just trade for Darius Slay, who was 29 years old and was still a Pro Bowler? It's the same situation. You're hitting the reset button at a position on your team that's in dire need because you don't have anyone behind Anthony Harris that's a potential starter. So what a guy like the Honey Badger would do to revolutionize this defense, especially the secondary, let alone the fact that Slay still doesn't have a partner on the outside right now. I mean, I get Sirianni is excited about these guys and Tay Gowan and Kerry Vincent Jr. and Zach McPherson and whatnot, but are any of those three in position to start right now? Absolutely not. So one of the best case scenarios right now is to give them another year in this system with Jonathan Gannon, knowing that the first year was very underwhelming with him as a defensive coordinator. Give them some more time under the wings to understand the system and get some players in here that are very easy to adjust to that kind of adaptation, and see what you can get out of them. I thought I'd address that quick, but just the sheer stupidity of people talking that, oh, he wants $14 million a year. Well, for a Pro Bowl type of player, isn't that worth it? It is to me.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you for bringing that up. I couldn't agree more. I would definitely pay Tyrann $14 million over paying what's my guy Xavier Howard $25 million a year. Not to say that he doesn't deserve it. I'm just saying that the Eagles have nobody there. Kayvon Wallace, don't know what his development looks like. People that talk like that, we know what they don't know. So
Yeah.
The biggest developmental player that we got to look forward to as of right now, because of the familiarity in this system and with Jonathan Gannon, is Marcus Epps. And you gotta give it up to him that he's continuing to advance, and he's looked pretty good in moments, but he's just not quite there for a starter role. Kayvon Wallace has primarily been on special teams. Sean Bradley as a linebacker has primarily been on special teams. And then I can never remember his name for the life of me, because he was supposed to be a good corner for us, developing into a good corner, and then he went over to special teams. He got hurt, but he's a safety that's still here because they re-signed him. But either way, yeah, there's just too many there's just too many positions on this team right now that have a lack of depth, and for you to be afraid to make not necessarily a plunge, but make a move for a prolific safety, and safeties shouldn't get paid all that money. Well, that's a bunch of crap, because it's based on the team's situation. Another team that's in dire need of a safety right now is the Saints, because they lost Marcus Williams to the Ravens. So you have to imagine that they're another team that's just as desperate as we are in terms of depth.
No, man, and I made the comment a a couple weeks back, and I still stand by it. I know there's a lot of people out there that frown upon the idea of bringing in like Julio Jones or somebody of that nature, but it's like I said before. At this point, man, I'm not being picky. I don't really care about age. I don't really care about anything but production. Listen, if you could get Julio Jones or AJ Green or one of these vets to come in and just get 800 yards, well, that's 600 yards more than what Rager had last year. It's an improvement. I'm not paying them for who they were. I'm paying them for who they are now.
If they accept the terms of the contract.
True. Yeah, I'm not going to pay outrageous money for them. Let's not get it twisted. But if you can get them for a reasonable price, dude, I'm not going to be greedy right now. You need a veteran presence, and you need somebody who's been there and can produce. I understand that they are injury prone at the point in their career, but we also can't be picky. That's a chance I'm willing to take, especially if it's like for 8 to 10 mil. At this point, what's there to lose? If he gets injured, at least he can be there mentally to help our young guys succeed. And I still believe we're going to be taking a wide receiver in the first round. So, who knows? We'll see.
Hey, Kanye. Yeah, hold up. Where's Antonio Brown? Yeah, get him on the phone, man. I'm going to talk to him.
No.
Yeah, we need a receiver, yo.
That's a little too much, actually. That's the one that makes me no to.
I don't care at this point, man. I don't care. I don't give a damn, man. Something, man.
I think that's the one guy I'd say no to, honestly. But
T.O., you still working out, T.O.?
Bro, no way. I made the comment. I made the comment last week. I said if we would have went out halfway through the season, or not even like week 3 or 4, and just signed T.O. to play the slot over Rager, that dude still would have probably got 800 yards at 40 years old. I'm not even playing. Yeah. He probably would have had 6-7 touchdowns. You could get more out of T.O. at 40 than you would Rager at 23.
Yep.
Yeah. I actually think he's legit, considering coming out of retirement. I don't know if it was April Fool's or whatever, but I sort of said that earlier. I said, man, I'll take a 48-year-old, unretired Terrell Owens over Jalen Rager and JJ Arthega backside any day.
Right.
And that's how sad we are right now. That we would take T.O. right now.
He's a dog though, bro. At 40 years old, this man is still killing it, man. I've seen some videos of him. Like, he's shaking some of these 20-some-year-old corners out there in college. I'm like, all right, I see you.
Yeah, I think he's gonna be, or he already is 48 years old. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, man.
He's 48 going on 25.
Yeah. So let's flip the conversation a little bit and get off Howie, because I'm tired of talking about him. Well, Pablo brought up a good one, and I was going to that next. The coaching staff. We'll get into the defensive coordinator here, because I'm sure we all got a lot to say about that one. But there is mixed emotions about Nick. Some people like him. Some people are still questionable. So how you guys feel about his first year, and what do you think about him? Do you think we might have got a steal? Like, do you think he can pan out to be something special? And is he going to be here for the foreseeable future? In your eyes? Just guessing.
Who wants to go first?
Please, I get this guy just out of my mind. When the Eagles, I was really high on Nick. When we first got him, I thought if you were going to sort of pivot away from Doug Peterson, you got to have somebody that could come in and win the locker room. I'll give him that. He definitely has sort of put in the groundwork, so to speak, and gained the trust of the veterans and the young guys. You listen to their press conferences, and they're always, speaking highly of him as a player's coach. But I just think he's just it's just one of those like wrong place, wrong time kind of vibes. You know what I mean? I think him not really being proven, right? He hasn't proven himself, and you compare that to what the Eagles are asking him to do. It's a lose-lose situation. I think the Philadelphia Eagles, we sort of cursed and jinxed ourselves when we moved away from Doug Peterson. I would have much rather just give Doug Peterson the autonomy to go ahead and sort of put together his roster. I mean, that's the only reason why I left, was because he wanted to put his guys in position. And when you're fresh off a Super Bowl, I believe you deserve that opportunity, right? And so for me, Nick Sirianni, he's okay, but I think as a play caller, he is the worst coach in the league. And I think if you're looking at our offense, right, I don't understand how anybody can make an argument or even debate that Nick Sirianni is not the worst coach in the league in terms of play calling. Week to week, he's calling plays. The next week, Shane Steichen just calling plays. As a head coach, you come in and you call the plays. You have the vision of the team. It's just he's somebody that I personally feel that he's not going to work out in Philadelphia. I think he talks too much. I think he tries to be so organic to he's kind of like artificial. You know what I mean? It's like, listen, man, I just asked you what kind of burger you like. You're telling me about the roller coaster from last week. You're telling me about your job. You're telling me you got overtime last week. Brother, I didn't ask you that, man. I just did you like the fries or not? Were they hot or cold when you got them? Like, that's it. You know what I mean? And I think for me, Nick Sirianni, man.
Well,
I don't know.
Well, Pablo, real quick. I'm just gonna say real quick.
Mm-hmm.
What's crazy is that you're saying that now,
yeah.
But at that Raider game, the fans were already throwing stuff at him.
Wow.
Because of what you just said. And the fans did that even in Philly. Remember, they're throwing the flowers. I don't know. They threw something at him.
A bouquet. It was a bouquet.
But that's shocking that our fans. That's wrong. First of all, you shouldn't be throwing anything at nobody. That's total disrespect, man. Win or lose, you can't do that. But they were so agitated already. And I don't know what week was that Raider game. Maybe I can't remember, second
week
month
8?
Or something like that.
Was it?
Probably so, but they were just so like Nick Sirianni got punched in the face right when Miles Sanders went down. And we have Kenneth Gainwell and Scott, and you got punched in the face and you threw in the towel already. You didn't know what to do. And he had multiple games like that. And that's alarming.
Yeah, but that's
gotta be ready,
bro, because you know what? Jordan Howard never should have been riding the pine the first couple of weeks to begin with. You should have been using Jordan Howard and Miles Sanders from week 1. There's no reason Jordan Howard should have been on the practice squad week 1. You knew you needed him.
We all knew that. See, the fans, we can't be writing love letters to Sirianni and say, okay, you're supposed to put Jordan Howard here and run this play. Can you put Jalen Hurts under center for this play and stop? Dude, like if we can see this, we are not coaches, and us fans can know this. Like that has to stop, dude. You, Howie Roseman, you did your investigation, and you sort of try to say that you hired the best man available, and I don't think any of us believe that. Because when they said Nick Sirianni, we're like, Nick, who?
The best man who he can control. The best man that I can control available.
Oh, depression.
Yeah, man. We should have. I thought we had. My thing is this: how do you have a potential candidate in Josh McDaniels, who's won how many Super Bowls? Who was connected hip to hip to, some may argue, the GOAT and Tom Brady, Some may argue Bill Belichick, one of the greatest head coaches of all time. How do you not see the value in that? How do you not see the benefit of connecting a Josh McDaniels with a Jalen Hurts and allowing that to grow? Right. So talk about the flowers. Forget the flowers. What's the only thing that's grown in Philadelphia is Howie Roseman's pride. Okay. It's the only thing that's grown. That's it. So that's why I said this. I'm telling you guys, and I'm putting it out there because I know this is not what we want to hear now, but I'm a realist. The Philadelphia Eagles are not going to have success under Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hurts. You may see some flashes, all right? But that partnership, it won't last too long. Because why? We know that Howie Roseman's in the background and he has Nick Sirianni's arms tied, and there's not much that he can do. It's only but so far Nick Sirianni can go as a head coach, and we all know a head coach needs to have full control of his team. That is why Doug Peterson is currently with the Jacksonville Jaguars.
I don't know if I necessarily agree with the Josh McDaniels take just because him winning all those Super Bowls. He was already confined to the Patriot way for how many years? He was an accessory to that success under Bill Belichick, and when he had the opportunity to be a head coach elsewhere, how did he look in Denver when he wanted to take Tim Tebow so bad? And how did that look? He wasn't pretty successful outside of New England. So it's not just the coach; it's the system that he's under at the same time. And we have to remember. I mean, what were the even if we necessarily didn't get the head coach that that we thought that we wanted or we thought that we were going to get, what were the expectations in the first place for Sirianni, especially considering the circumstances of him coming into and I think was he necessarily ready for this kind of promotion, this kind of position? Probably not, but he's I got to give it to him because he's making the best out of it that he possibly can. When you bring up everything, like that controlling type of element that Howie Roseman has in this franchise, I think Nick is doing what everything that he possibly can. And I know one thing. I know I wasn't completely on Doug Peterson after hearing that he wanted Press Taylor as his offensive coordinator and whoever else that he had a part of his coaching staff, because it definitely wasn't an improvement after 2020. I mean, the front office lost so much trust in Peterson to the point where he wasn't able to pick his own coaches. I mean, that tells you all you need to know right there. They were trying to bring in Rich Scangarello, and they brought in Marty Morningwig to try and help him out. There was too many heads butting with each other, too many Chiefs, not enough Indians. And at the end of the day, whether that was a what's the word I'm thinking of, whether that was a self-implosion or not, with Peterson giving his coaching staff on what he wanted to do in his vision going forward, if he was going to be the head coach for the Eagles, I wasn't buying it.
Yeah, the only rebuttal I will say to that is my comment as it relates to Josh McDaniels coming to the Philadelphia. Let's keep it in context. I'm talking about, do you want a Nick Sirianni who is unproven, or do you want a Josh McDaniel, even if he was an accessory to a Super Bowl? Give me somebody that was around a Super Bowl as opposed to a Nick Sirianni who can never sniff it. Okay.
No, I get that part.
You know what I mean? Like Nick Sirianni. Let's not forget, Andy Reid fired Nick Sirianni as a wide receivers coach. A lot of people don't talk about that after his first year. I mean, so for me, it's just, all I'm saying is, and that was a great take. I'm just saying that the Philadelphia Eagles wanted to put themselves in a position where they can control the head coach. And for them to settle on Nick Sirianni instead of challenging themselves, like Howie Roseman, you've been here 20 years. You won a Super Bowl. What's the next step in progression for you, for your legacy? How about you work with somebody who's been there and done that? These guys, they don't want to do it. They want to be in complete control, and we're going to continue to suffer as fans because of it.
I think it's a combination of that and them trying their damnedest to, um, you know, try and rekindle the relationship with their franchise quarterback when he was already completely bought out of the situation. If they couldn't get Frank Reich back, then they thought Sirianni was the next best thing. And when that plan failed, and they understood that, well, they hired their head coach already, so let's see who we have to work with here. And like Jalen Hurts is a quarterback, Sirianni is also a work in progress, and that's what they're stuck with right now.
Well, and you got to also remember too, like we've always been a franchise that takes chances on new head coaches. I mean, that's dating all the way back to Andy Reid. I mean, Andy Reid really didn't have any experience. We took him. You got Chip Kelly. Yeah, he was from college and he was a head coach, but he had no NFL experience. We took him, took a chance. Doug Peterson, same way, took a chance.
Wait,
You know,
wait.
I think,
I gotta
yeah,
stop you there because Andy Reid came up under the Mike Holmgren tree, right? Like these guys coach with other guys, Pete Carroll, all of these guys. So to
yeah,
say
but I'm
that,
saying they were first time head coaches under us, is what I mean, Pablo. Like we
no,
gave them their first opportunity.
but you got to consider who they was coaching with, and these guys are Hall of Famers. You can't say, well, these guys were first timers and not, point to the fact that even though they were first timers, they had experience under Hall of Fame coaches.
Well, well, yeah, that's not what I'm talking about though. I'm talking like and what I was getting to is I like to think of us as the Eagle franchise that we're innovators, where we actually give the no name guy a shot to where other teams won't.
Mhm.
I like to think of us in that way. Like we're willing to take a leap in the coaching area because for the most part, even though we hate our GM and our owner, for what is that?
Bro, that is Charles Barkley doing the cha cha at the Final Four, and then homie with the mic is dancing behind him.
That's funny. But
Charles Barkley, hi man. Oh no.
but I like to look at it in that way because there isn't a lot of teams out there that will give a new guy a shot. They would rather go with the more veteran experience, and that's okay. But I've always liked to think of us that way. Like we'll give the little guy a shot because it's always paid off, and it seems like we've always had good luck doing it. You know what I mean?
Mhm. Yeah, I
I
got you.
mean, at least we're not in a position right now where we're taking a chance on somebody that's coming from the collegiate level,
Yeah.
and can you imagine if you switched some positions on the coaching staff right now? Like, can you imagine Brian Johnson as the head coach right now? I don't think so. I mean, we're questioning him as a quarterback coach. As far as I'm concerned, with Jalen Hurts' development, we're talking about the connection between Hurts and Sirianni. Well, behind the scenes, how much is Brian Johnson helping from a coaching perspective of working with his quarterback that he's personally known since he was 6 years old? I mean, something's going on there that's got to be addressed a little bit. But and to more of Pablo's point, if I can help him out with this, and bringing up Andy Reid, I mean, like just the accumulated wisdom that he has continued to build off of and possess for how many years that he has worked in the NFL to build a foundation of how many head coaches that there are in the NFL that came from the Andy Reid tree. Like that's the kind of man that we want to have commanding this football team, and we want to have that kind of taste again. And while Dougie P was a mild fraction of that, to say, well, he was a mild fraction of that, to say the least. Being under Andy Reid, for some time, and being that guy to give us our Super Bowl, and to hang tight with that strong grit and everything. We're I guess we're trying to groom somebody else, and it brought up a good thought. And I know you say, Pablo, that you feel that there's not going to be a sustained amount of positive success between Hertz and Sirianni, between a head coach and a quarterback perspective. Do you feel that Sirianni is going to have as bad of a flame out as Chip Kelly did for this football team? Is he at that level right now, only a year in as a head coach, or do you think he's a little bit better off to this point?
So, man, that's a hell of a question. So, I'll add so when I say Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hurts is not going to have success, let me also say put Howie Roseman in that as well. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Because and I think as it relates to Chip Kelly, he came out on fire. He literally changed the way NFL offenses ran during his era. But who got in his way? Who had to be sent downstairs and put in timeout? Howie Roseman, right? So for me, it always goes back to Howie, right? And so for me, I just feel like if Howie Roseman is in the picture, I don't see how Jalen Reagor and Nick Sirianni could have success, because there are some things that Howie Roseman is going to have to take his hands off and allow those guys to really do their thing, right? I think Nick Sirianni said it this week. I mean, as a head coach, man, think about it. He said, Howie Roseman runs this team. What? Howie Roseman runs the team? What are you here for? What are you? Why did you take the job? Right? So it's like the Eagles are trying to groom a guy who doesn't have facial hair. It will never work.
Eagles fans went from Carson fans to Jalen Hurts fans. Well, I mean, that's kind of obvious, because we're going to support whoever's under center no matter what. I mean, it's not our fault that our once franchise quarterback has now been on three teams in 3 years. That's more of a Carson problem than an organization problem, as much as as much as we want to put it that way. And I don't. We can't completely absolve the Eagles. I mean, they put this on themselves, and a lot of us felt that Carson got his extension way too early, coming off of an injury, and only showing us 1 year after his rookie season of getting us the number one seed, and Nick Foles finishing the job. The problem is that he didn't develop any type of sustainability, and his poor irresponsible decisions that he made, whether coming back from injury too early after the double ligament tear, or just how he looked, up and down in 2019, the implosion of 2020. A lot of that's more on the player than it is the organization, unless you're willing to say that the franchise did not do enough to build a team around their franchise quarterback. But the same argument that we're making for Jalen right now, we already witnessed for Carson, especially that he was the second pick. And the second pick in his respective draft. Jalen was not drafted here to be the starter. It was Carson's self-doing that elevated Hurts to being the starting quarterback of this football team. So we gotta keep the perspective 100 there. But yeah, no. But going back to the comment, we support whoever's under center of this football team. It's not a matter of us being a specific fan of a certain player. And I'm in trouble.
Sorry about that, guys. My bad.
No problem. Yeah, I remember. I think that's a hell of a take, Wendy. I remember supporting Kevin Call, man. I remember supporting uh, Corey Detmer, right? Guys like that. That's who Philadelphia is, man. And there's some guys that might mention, oh well, you're this way about this guy. It's like, no, man. Like whoever wears those wings on the side of their helmet, man. That's why I'm gonna, represent, right? If Jalen Hurts is no longer the quarterback, I guarantee you, whoever we bring in, I'm going to sit there, I'm going to study them, I'm going to evaluate them, I'm going to look at the good, I'm going to look at the bad, I'm going to see the whole totality of the picture, step away from the elephant, evaluate them, and ride behind them. You know what I mean? So, Eagles fans, we get a lot of flack for supporting, our players, and I honestly I thought that was the purpose of sort of following and supporting the team.
Well, I mean, in the end, man, it's about the name on the front, not the name on the back. You know, and like I said, as long as Jalen Hurts is driving the ship, he has my support. When it's no longer him, it's someone else, they have my support. When the kid does something wrong, I will say something. He will not escape from it. I will blame him when the blame is on him. I will call him out on the stupid things he does wrong, and I will give him credit and praise for the things he does right. You know, but just because you're a favorite doesn't mean you're going to just not get any of the blame.
For sure.
You know what I mean? So I'm 100% with you. I want nothing but the best for this kid, but he's got to prove it. I believe he's mentally tough and mentally built for Philly. I believe he has all the makings to be whatever he wants. I mean, he has all the athletic skills to be a very dominant quarterback in this league. He's just got to put it together.
I'll also add to that and say he has a very high IQ. A lot
Yeah.
of times with quarterbacks of color, we talk about everything below the head. We don't talk about Jalen Hurts being a brainy kind of guy, right? And so we're quick to say he learned 6 different systems, 6 straight years, but you also have to follow that up and with the compliment and say, man, this guy's pretty smart, pretty intelligent. I don't
Yeah.
know. You got to be very smart to be able to do that, especially at NFL, a complex NFL system, right? So he did it at a collegiate level, did it in the pros. And at the time I didn't have a Twitter, but man, I was on Jalen Hurts' tail. I'm like, man, you step late with that throw. Come on, get it there, man. Get out of bounds. Slide. Do those things. And it's just a lot of times people, oh, you don't really critique Jalen. No, it's not that. It's just I think Jalen is obviously just given the short end of the stick. Like people, they compare him to Carson, and they're going to compare Carson's second year to Jalen's second year, and I just think it's unfair. We just talked about, some of the things that Nick Sirianni can do better, right? And you look at Carson Wentz's second year, he was in that same system under Doug Peterson for the second straight year. So he had time to really learn the offense, the nuances of the offense, and develop, timing and rhythm and all of those things. Plus, he had Doug Peterson, head coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars now. Plus, he had Frank Reich, head coach of the Colts, John DeFilippo. He got a head coaching job, Deuce Staley, guys like that. So when you think about the superstar roster, as far as the coaching staff side of it, as far as the coaching side of it, the Philadelphia Eagles really put and invested a lot of, coaching experience into Carson Wentz, and he had the talent. So it would have been more kind of frustrating if you put all of these coaches and resources around Carson and he didn't do what he did. You look at Jalen Hurts and you see, in the playoffs, the Eagles don't even throw or scheme up throws to Devontae Smith. But the game before against the Giants, right, the game that doesn't matter at all, the Eagles are throwing Devontae Smith the ball 10 straight times. But in the playoffs, you don't give him the ball to the second half. It's incompetent coaching, and it's not enough.
Yeah, no, I agree, man. And that's where the balance of putting the blame on the players and putting the blame on the coaches. It's got to be an equal thing. It can't be one way or the other. You can't just throw it all on one person. It takes a collective unit to suck. Let's put it that way. But real quick before we continue, I shout out to the 10 people in here. Listen, this is the first night of the rebrand. This is where the uncensored part is taken out. I'll explain how it will all work here at the end of this stream. But please make sure you hit that like button. Please hit that subscribe. We are on the road to 1K. Please go and follow me on Twitter at AKEagles88. Appreciate you guys coming and joining me tonight, man. This has been fun so far. And, go ahead. Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt you.
Let me rebuttal to this comment that you got up here.
Please, man. You read
you
my
can
mind.
You can learn Pablo, how are we on the same page right now? We're actually on the same level on the screen. Oh my God. Here we go. Let's go over it. We might as well tag team this like WrestleMania.
Please,
you can learn a system, but you have to be able to read a defense. Okay. First off, the system is a part of defensive. Head coach's responsibility, especially if he's the play caller in tandem with the offensive coordinator, to put the system in place to allow the quarterback to succeed in recognizing what concepts or what play beats whatever particular type of coverage that the defensive coordinator is setting up on the football field. It's not just the quarterback. That's where the combination of players and coaching staff have to come together in order to allow the football team to win on game day. It's not just down to Jalen Hurts. And all the critique that Jalen is getting right now, do we not forget that we're talking about a 23-year-old NFL quarterback that has made the playoffs in his first full year of starting? Can we calm down on all the criticism that he's getting right now? And I don't care what Nick Saban has to say. I don't care what whoever else has to say. All I know is the fact that we have heard the amount of different systems that Jalen Hurts has had to go through and has had to study and has had to work with different personnel, different players, different playmakers, whatever. There has been no stability in terms of who he has had in his ear or under center that's snapping him the ball. And for what he is able to have accomplished at this point in his career, there is credit to be made there. But us as Eagles fans, we want 110%, 100% of the time. And that's why we are as hard on Jalen as we are, because we want him to taste the success that we witnessed in Super Bowl 52 that he wasn't here for. We want him to get that same opportunity. And there's a lot more to this than just him as a quarterback to push him down the road to be more successful the older he gets, and how he is able to grow as an NFL quarterback.
And let me add something on to that as well, man. Because
let me get that, and let me get it next after that.
Okay, it's something. We'll all eat. Don't worry. No lie, and it's something that really, just really pisses me off, man. Is I am so tired of hearing, well, he can't read defenses. Okay, he can't read defenses, but stop acting like this kid's a fucking idiot. Sorry, I know I shouldn't be cussing right now, but I'm tired. I'm tired of people. I'm sorry. I'm tired of people sitting there acting like he's an idiot. Like this guy, you don't think for 1 second he can't figure out how to read a defense? Like he's made it this far, right? Come on.
When did we hear that specifically? Oh, the wild card playoff game. Who was the defensive coordinator he was facing? Todd Bowles, one of the top defensive coordinators in all of football. And I mean, I don't know. Oh, he's the head coach of Tampa Bay now, just because Bruce Arians decided to take a secretarial role in the front office. So I mean, to hear it from one of the highest prolific defensive coordinators in the league right now, for him to say, oh, this kid can't read a defense. Well, I mean, to his full of experience perspective. Oh, okay. Speak the obvious. I mean, do you not understand? Well, obviously he doesn't understand what he's going through because he's working in a different operation. He's working in a different franchise right now. But you're talking about a 23-year-old who has just completed his first year as a starting quarterback who made the playoffs. So I mean, take of it what you will, but I mean, a lot of this is being blown out of proportion.
I'm going to put that one down. I don't want to get to that one yet.
Please.
Yeah, I don't want to get to that one yet. Go ahead, Birdman. We'll get to that one next.
All right. So as far as Jalen goes, like, I'm going to hold his feet to the fire, and a lot of fans are. That's where, I mean, some people are going to go to the extreme with it, which is fine, because if I'm sitting next to a Tampa fan, you're going to judge who's on the field. They're not going to say, oh, it's the coach over there. See that coach? That's why he's losing. They're looking at the player, right? And Jalen, yes, he had probably one of the worst games, whatever. We can go on and on about it. But the thing is, I'm not going to look at his age. I expect this from him. I didn't expect to get blown out like that, but I know he can fight because I've seen him fight. Now the problem is that if there's two guys not on the same page, which is Sirianni and Jalen, that's what you see on the field. Something's got to give, because if this is going to be a repeat of what we just saw, you're going to see the same results. And if Howie doesn't even get him more help, it may be even worse. But the thing is that I'm not going to give Jalen a mulligan on age, his IQ, or anything. But it's also not fair to also put everything on him, because Nick Sirianni and Doug Peterson, what Doug Peterson did with him in 3 or 4 games versus Nick Sirianni for a whole season, it's like almost night and day. 2 different players.
Yeah, what I'm gonna do is I want to be as accurate as possible. So I'm gonna pull out my calculator here. I'm just gonna do 23 minus 5. Okay, so Jalen Hurts is 5 years away from being 18 years old. 5 years away from being 18 years old, and it's not an excuse; it's a fact. And what I hate about the Jalen Hurts hate is, we never talked about how Carson Wentz, right, couldn't read coverages. I wonder why. I'm not going to say it, but I'm sure you know, right? Carson Wentz, literally, I don't know if it was the Los Angeles game or I don't know who he played, but it was a coverage where it was 2 players right next to Jalen Reagor, and he threw the ball, but he can read coverages, right? So for me, I'll say this: Jalen Hurts cannot call the play, and he cannot run the play. He only can do one. He can't call the play and run the play. So this narrative and this notion that the guy has no arm, the guy can't read coverages. Listen, it's such a lazy way of thinking, because you don't know football. You just simply don't know football. To sit up there and say he can't read coverages, you can make the argument that he's a bit late. Okay, I'll give you that. But to say that he can't read coverages, I think that is lazy. And it's just stupid. I hate to put it that way, but it is. People just, if you miss a throw, Carson Wentz had the cannon arm, right? He had the high IQ, quote unquote, but he couldn't even hit Miles Sanders out the backfield. So he can read coverages, and he still can't get him the ball there. I mean, how many times did Carson Wentz have a guy out the flanker, and he forced the ball in double coverage when he had Miles Sanders coming out the backfield? But nobody talked about him not being able to read coverages. Why?
And Pablo, I will say that I will say this to defend Jalen Hurts. I will say this, Pablo. I don't know if you agree with this. Sometimes Jalen Hurts was the only guy that was doing anything on the team.
Go deeper. Go deeper. I want to understand more.
What I mean by that is that when the play design wasn't going right or the guys weren't catching, Jalen took the game in his hand. That's why I think he had so many rushing touchdowns, because he said to himself, enough is enough, because what Sirianni is dialing up isn't working. How many times did you watch a Philadelphia game this year and it was 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out, and that gets to you. So at I don't know how many games it was, but sometimes Jalen Hurts was the only guy producing.
Let me ask you this question, and that's how can you blame Jalen Hurts for not being able to get in rhythm if his head coach, who's calling the plays, doesn't understand how to get in rhythm? See, you have to go back to Nick Sirianni. Nick is not even calling plays where he's getting Jalen in rhythm. I mean, it was one play. I don't know if it was against the first game or if it was against the Giants. It was 3rd and 10, and this guy calls a draw play. I'm just like, what are you doing?
Yeah, there was a lot of that.
It was almost like Nick was just like, listen, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. Let me just call this play so I can get my guys to the sidelines, see what they're saying out there, so we could try to draw something up.
Hey, Pablo, I got a question for you. What was the one thing that Doug Peterson always did to get Carson into sync?
The one thing that Doug Peterson did, it was always that Zach Ertz would run this like a 5-yard hook
right
there.
Well, it was also a hurry-up offense.
Yeah, it was hurry-up offense, but he was always that specific play to Zach Ertz to start it off, just to go ahead, start the game.
And that's what I feel you need to do with Jalen to get him
any quarterback.
In all honesty, that should be every quarterback. You should come out with a hurry up just to get his blood pumping, just to get everyone's blood pumping, and to just get him going into the game right off the bat. But I truly believe that is a strong thing with Jalen. I think you do need to come out with a hurry-up offense just to get him rolling. Because once you get him rolling, you see, once he got him rolling in the 3rd and 4th, even though it was too late to come back, when the kid gets rolling, it's kind of hard to stop him. It really is, It is. But the point is, we waited too long to get him in that rhythm. You need to come out here and get him fired up right off the bat, whether that's hurry up the offense and get him into that rhythm immediately, but that's something they need to figure out. That's why they're the coaches, and I do this,
Yeah, and
here's one more thing, Pablo. Why do we think, again, this goes to Howie, and I had problems with Doug Peterson because, remember, we didn't have the offensive coordinator calling plays. And here we are, we're giving Nick Sirianni everything, dial it up. And I think, why would you put him in that position off the get? Where did Nick Sirianni get? Why are we putting him on this pedestal from the get with Jalen Hurts?
Because Howie Roseman, I think Lenny, go ahead, bro. Go ahead, bro.
Sirianni has already talked about in a couple of press conferences now on the value of what Shane Steichen means as an offensive coordinator and how they collaborate in a tandem on game day on who calls what specific play. So as far as I'm concerned, maybe Siri needs to continue to be kind of a under the wing sort of individual and allow Shane Steichen to bring him along a little bit in terms of play calling, being that this is Sirianni's first real position of being the top dog and being the top decision maker. Maybe he's got to lean on Steichen a little more to help get his quarterback in rhythm. I mean, we seen how Steichen was able to how he was
My
able to
dog.
help Justin Herbert when Shane was still over in LA working with Justin Herbert, even as a rookie for the Chargers, and how everybody was trying to say, oh, Herbert's going to be he's going to be one of the busts at quarterback, and nobody really trusted him, and he still went 6th overall, I think, to the Chargers. And look at him now; he's one of the top young and upcoming stars in terms of quarterbacks in football. So the Eagles could very well have the same situation with Jalen here, and I will say something else that makes this a little bit worse when we're trying to put Jalen and Carson in the same conversation. Pablo, did you ever think of this? Carson was the 2nd pick in his draft class. Okay. Jalen Hurts was projected to be about 3rd, 4th round. Eagles still took him in the 2nd round. Do we ever remember? And I understand this is the collegiate level and whatnot, and it doesn't mean anything up to this point in time. But when you're talking about a quarterback prospect, wait a minute. Was Carson ever in the discussion for Heisman? I don't know. Was he ever in the discussion for Heisman? I'm pretty sure Hurts was a runner-up at the collegiate level between Alabama and Oklahoma. So I mean, we're not as worse off as we think here in terms of a quarterback that we're working with. When we just seen the demise of Carson and Jared Goff, number 1 and 2 in their draft class, and we got something to work with in Jalen Hurts. So I mean, come on, pump the brakes a little bit here and use some context and use some perspective going forward.
Yeah, but the only thing that I'll say to that is that because they say Carson Wentz had an MVP like, and if you're a Heisman like, it's the same thing. If you didn't get it, you don't get it.
Yo, real quick, guys, I got to welcome a really special guest of mine as well to the panel. Welcome, King. Appreciate you, man, taking the time out to join us.
What up?
Swoop squad.
Swoop squad, you know what I'm saying? That King Fly jump, y'all go get that jump. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir. How you feeling, bro? Just talking some Eagles football, dude. Talking a little bit of Howie vision, talking, some players, talking some Jalen Hurts right now, and, just talking to the chat here and conversating, really.
What's King drinking tonight?
Man, I just came from a joint right now, and my man was trying to give me a drink of tequila. I'm on the East Coast. I don't drink tequila, B. I'm hitty all day. Yeah, man. I mean, I just heard the convo y'all just had right now. You talk about Jalen and comparisons to Carson Wentz. I just think it's still insane that he's going to be playing for the bum. I'm very, very still surprised about that. You know what I mean? But I feel like this is what I feel. I feel like people need to start give young Bulls some time, man. Give my Bulls some time, man. Let them develop, and let them have a coordinator at least under 2 years. The same coordinator going on forward. Give him some time to develop and let him have the same coordinator going into his third year into the NFL season. I feel like as this generation, I'm about to say part of this generation, and some people, they just like write them off from the jump. Like you can't do that. You just can't do that. You want to be like? Do you want to be like Washington? Not have a franchise quarterback? Never. You know what I'm saying? Think about it.
The only thing, King,
the culture of Philadelphia, though, that we don't call ourselves. I don't think we call ourselves impatient, but I think it's just more of the eternal hunger of success, and like we're there. I think that's where most of the impatience comes from in terms of the quarterback, and our fear of the general manager that's still here that just got a 3-year extension, or the just that egotistical warfare that I brought up earlier between the owner and Howie Roseman, and trying to flex their geniusness, or what's the innovation, amongst the league. We always try to be, it's always that one step ahead mentality, and as much as it feels successful, it's also, it also blows up in our face at the same time every now and then, but yeah, I think it's just more of, just the hunger for success. Like, we watched Super Bowl 52 and all of its historical glory, and finally getting revenge on Tom Brady and the New England Patriots, who denied us the second time in our 3 appearances, and now, now that we got it, we want more. Like, we're never satisfied, and I think that ties into a lot of the impatience surrounding Hurts' development.
And I before we get to this comment, I like what you were saying about that. And in all honesty, man, I gotta say, I asked Joey this backstage the other night after my one live stream. I said, has Pat Mahomes and Justin Herbert and all these young guys who have come out, and Josh Allen, have they just truly set the bar so high? I mean, to the moon, that it's people just almost want the impossible nowadays because these other teams have them, and people need to realize, dude, there's only one Justin Herbert. There's only one Pat Mahomes. Like, they only come once in a while. The odds of getting that is very slim. Like, you might wait another 6-7 years before you even see another one. So these guys have set the bar so high. It's almost honestly unfair to people like Jalen and some of these other dudes, because it's like, listen, they will never reach Pat Mahomes' potential. We understand that. But their bar is just so big, it's really an unfair advantage to some of these other guys.
It even brings up 2 questions. It even brings up 2 questions to me after you making that statement, AK. And you can think of it this way: one, is it because Jalen Hurts isn't built like the prototypical quarterback? Is that something that a lot of people that are addressing that? Oh, he's not 6'4", 6'5", around 230, 240 pounds. Cannon of an arm, and all these traits that you can't teach, because it's just who the player is. It's how they were built over, it's just how they were built. And number two, how many years did it take Brian Dable to help evolve Josh Allen into the quarterback that he was? Stuff like that takes time, and I'm not saying that Jalen Hurts is of the level of Josh Allen, because obviously there are 2 different types of quarterbacks. But the point is you gotta establish some level of patience to figure out who you have and who you're working with, and to write this kid off after his first year of starting, especially transitioning from 2 different offensive systems. It just does it. There's no logic behind it. It doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, I'll jump in and say, there is no such thing as a prototypical quarterback. You see Peyton Manning do it. You see Drew Brees do it.
Yep.
I think ultimately, we're just in a microwave league right now. Everybody wants instant grits. For me personally, I came up under, hey, man, this is our first round draft pick. This is our quarterback. We're going to sit him, all right? We're going to teach him. He's going to learn the game. We're going to learn the ropes a bit for a few years, and then he's going to step in. Now guys are asked, to do it day one, and you can argue that Patrick Mahomes and guys like Josh Allen sort of expedited the quarterback project in terms of trying to see if this guy can go ahead and get it done. But I'm gonna say this, man. And this is really directed to the city of Philadelphia and the fans all around. Like, if we could wait 14 years to see what Howie Roseman turned into finally helping us get a Super Bowl. If we could wait 5 years for Nelson Aguilar, all right, to see what he can do, man, I'm waiting 2.5, 3 years for Jalen. All right?
Right? Yeah. I feel you.
So
I feel you.
Yeah, it's just unfortunate, man. It's just like,
yeah, but you got two problems, Howie and Sirianni.
But Birdman, this is my thing. You can't really even say Howie's a problem. I mean, this is a GM that gave us this is a GM that gave us a Super Bowl.
One time.
Well, and not just that, but dude, well, listen to this too.
And then on top of that, and then on top of that, you got to understand something. His when he was doing what he was doing before, I get it. The dream team, that sucked. It was terrible. You know what I'm saying? I get it. Some of the draft picks, crap shoots. They're not hitting. We got Jalen Reagor here. We should have had Justin Jefferson. Devontae Adams we go and get J-Matt. We go and get J-Matt. I get it. DK. We should have DK here. We have JJ Althega. I get it. But when it comes to building the trenches in on out, you cannot say this man has not done his thing. He has. Last year, he hit on his draft picks. This year, okay, I get it. It's different. But you cannot say that, hey, Howie is the main problem, the main solution. Like,
yes, I can. We still need a wide receiver. We still need a corner. We still need a linebacker, which we don't get.
But that's the beauty of building. That's the beauty of building football team, though. It takes. That's what I'm saying, though. What Pierre? You just said instant grits, right?
Mm-hmm.
That Birdman. That's exactly what you want. You have to be able. Listen, you have. This is an ongoing. The same thing about free agency. Free agency is all year round.
Yeah,
we signed guys in June and May, July. 2017, we go and get a deal with Garrett Blunt. Yes, he should have signed for another year. We win a Super Bowl that year in 2017. That's what I'm saying. You gotta let this develop, though. You have to let this develop.
If I can,
we don't develop. We don't develop.
Yeah, if I can simplify this, here, let me try and help you, Birdman. If I can simplify this in terms of, adjectives to describe the constant complaints of Howie Roseman as a GM in his tenure for Philly, I think it comes down to two things. One, overthinking, and two, that I just why did I forget the second one? Because the second one was just as good, and I don't remember it. Overthinking, overthinking and inconsistency. I think are the top two complaints with this GM. Overthinking and inconsistency. I think that's fair to say.
Well, and that's why I always love going back to Pittsburgh to that argument, man. They have had 30 head coaches or 3 head coaches in the last 30 years. That is consistency. That's a fact. That is what you need to win games. Consistency. And frankly, we don't have enough of that here.
What you're saying about Pittsburgh, though, what you're saying about Pittsburgh, though, is what do they have that we don't have?
Good management, good ownership.
They have good management. We don't have good management.
Yeah.
Jeffrey Lurie. And I have to say this: Jeffrey Lurie is the main some of the prime reasons where we're at right now.
But wait, I have to, King. I love everything you've been saying this up until this point. But when you look at how Jerry Jones micromanages everybody in Dallas, and you look how Jeffrey Lurie sort of takes a step back and allows Howie Roseman that autonomy to go ahead and build a roster. That's it. You can make. I don't know about.
I get it. No. I get what you're saying, but certain bits of he lets it go. Sometimes he's like, "Oh, I'm here. I'm ready to go." And then sometimes, like that whole thing, that discombobble conference that he just did. The only reason why he had us at out is because we're getting black jerseys, we're getting black helmets, and we getting Kelly Green in 2023. Everything else, we were like, what?
What? Well, dude, I definitely said what when he brought up
I was like, yo, son, somebody cut my man's mic off. Like he was like, I was like, yo, so, wait, the JJ pick? I was like, yo.
When I heard that, it gave me a red flag to the point of Jeffrey Lurie in this tandem between him and the GM. I think it's fair to say that there's an element working here where you can say Jeffrey Lurie has too strong, like too impactful of an opinion that alters decisions, whether it's free agency or the draft. I mean, he gave you the answers to the test at his press conference, to which he was saying that he gave his opinion on the decision of J.J. Arcega-Whiteside, that he preferred him over a guy like Paris Campbell, and then that put Howie in a bind to where he's so stuck on satisfying the owner's wishes that he went on ahead and chose Arcega-Whiteside over a guy like Paris Campbell or DK Metcalf. I mean, Lurie told you flat out what the situation was, and his reasoning behind that. He has to think to himself, maybe I am involved in too many of these decisions. Well, okay, that's fine and dandy, but if you're still giving your opinion and the GM is taking and running with it negatively, where he should be worried about paying attention to the scouting department and paying attention to his board instead of what you have to say, then you're kind of getting in the way there regardless.
Yeah. This is why I have to sort of drag Howie Roseman back into this conversation, is because all right, we won the Super Bowl in 2017. Am I correct, fellas?
Yeah.
Okay. That was the year that Howie Roseman took a step back and he brought in guys to be able to do their job, right? Howie Roseman didn't ascend that Howie Roseman did not assemble that roster. It was Joe Douglas, right? So the fact that Howie is going back to the old Howie and not bringing in guys, right? We talk about last year. Okay, it was a decent draft, but the problem with Howie Roseman is when he misses, he kills people, he murders people. I mean, we are suffering because we didn't take Justin Jefferson. We are suffering because we didn't take DK Metcalf. And then he'll come out and say, "Well, I hit on Quez Watkins," but then you got a first-round pick who could have been Hollywood Brown and Andre Dillard. He's a wasted pick. You're wasting resources, you're wasting people's time, and it's because you won't drop your pride. Howie Roseman is at his best when he allows other people to do their job the best. Howie Roseman has a law degree, he has a financial degree. We got all these degrees, yet you keep missing on these players.
Pablo, I got one word for you, Pablo.
Say it again.
I got one word for you.
Still.
I got you though. Why do we feel that Howie Roseman thinks he hit on Quez Watkins and whoever else? Why do we feel that? Well, these guys are late round picks. There's no pressure on late round picks. That's why we're as irritated as we are to the fact that we got 3 first-round picks and we're trying to figure out what the hell Howie is going to do with those. But to me, to be quite frank, I think we all know very well that we're not using all 3 picks in this draft. He is definitely going to trade one away to have some sort of back value going into next year, or to maybe make a trade on draft day. We have no idea. But what we do know is that he is not selecting 3 he's not selecting 3 players in the first round, because that's where things start to crumble a little bit. Derek Barnett, Andre Dillard, and whoever else you want to throw in there, that miraculously they're still on this football team, even though they give us next to no value whatsoever. But he has a problem he has a problem in not accepting that, he missed on some of the most important players that you are expecting to impact your football team. And that's where the egotistical issues come into play. And yep, that's our biggest thing right now.
Thank you, Birdman. Appreciate that.
Everybody's link is in the comments. Lindy, Cobb, Swoop.
Good
so
deal.
Everybody, if you're in the chat, make sure you guys subscribe to these guys, man.
Definitely, dude. Definitely, because you know what, Birdman, he's one hell of a content creator, and shout out to him. He's going through the transition I'm going through right now. So, I hope all the best for you, man. Pablo Gary, he's the realest man you'll probably ever meet. He speaks from the heart, and he just talks shop, man. So definitely go sub him up. He's real as she'll get. Then you got my boy King down here below me, very knowledgeable. Yeah, one half of the Swoop Boys, and he has the knowledge, man, and he's a good dude. So, definitely go sub up at each and every person on this panel. They are the realest of the real, and I'm honored that they all chose to join me tonight. So appreciate you guys.
Well, being that Birdman so happened to advertise my channel, I guess the cat's now out of the bag. And the reason I say that is because for those who don't know, I retired from my channel about 4 weeks ago. I put up a video. I put up a video on my channel, and I called it the final score. And I was at a point in time where my channel felt more like a job than it did a hobby, and it really took a toll on me mentally, because it wasn't there anymore. I was stressing myself out. I felt completely obligated to give more, like 200% into it. I was too stressed to the point where it was negatively impacting me the more from a positive, and that's what led to me dropping a final video on my channel. But however, it did give me time to help with some contemplation and really realizing what my YouTube channel meant to me from the very beginning in the development of relationships with other content creators, Eagles fans specifically, and what it meant. And I took it for granted a little bit, because even when I was away, I was still paying attention to the football team. I was still trying to talk Eagles football on Twitter or participating in call-ins. And I thought, well, why the hell did I do this in the first place? And maybe it's time to rekindle what made me happy. And this was a part of it. So I guess it is safe to say at this point that I am back. I am back on my channel, and I will be getting back into it slower than normal. I won't be all there. I got some changes and transitions to do with myself, and long story short, here I am. I don't think I'm going anywhere this time, but I think how can I put it here? I think I owe a lot of my return to the continued support of subscribers and content creators that I have met on here, and what it really meant to me on what I was actually giving up and still being supported, even though I was not here anymore. And you guys are part of the reason that I'm back, and that's why the energy is still here, and Lindy Legend returning and whatnot. But
Yeah, so I'm just here and enjoying another moment and having this opportunity to talk to the rest of you guys on the panel, and thank you for uh, you know thank you for what you guys do, and it's great to be back.
Yeah, just like I said, I don't know how I stumbled on your page, Lindy, but your numbers weren't that high, mine weren't that high. Mine are still low. But the thing is, the reason why I followed you is because you're a unique dude. You have your style, and always keep it that way. Never change who you are for anybody. Just keep doing what you're doing. That's why I followed you. And even though me and you will get into heated debates, it was nothing ever personal against you. Like, I wasn't like really trying to be mean or anything. It's
I
just like
know.
sometimes I try to get that conversation going, and you
Yeah.
see all the comment. King knows, AK knows, Pablo not so much, but even Pablo takes his time, and when you guys do come back, like King's got so much to do. We all have so much to do. Work is crazy. We got to be place. You got to be a dad. You got to be a content
Yeah.
creator. It's a lot of work. So just don't put so much pressure on yourself. When it's time to come back, it's time to come back, and you always have a home no matter what. Even if you're not a content creator, you could always hit me up. That's just how I am, man. I just it's like a family at the end of the day. If we ever get to meet out at a game or something like that, it would be awesome. Like, I hope, like, I met King, I haven't met AK, I haven't met Pablo yet, but one day it's gonna happen, and it's gonna be, that's what it's about. Just don't put too much pressure on yourself, man. That's all I gotta say, man.
Well said. Couldn't say better, man.
Yep.
So, yeah. Now, let's get to the defensive side of the ball. We talked about our offense a lot for 2 hours here. We'll finish that up and we'll get out of here. But let's talk about this defensive side. We got Gannon. We got some players that are new. Obviously we got Riddick, and we brought Harris back. Now we
Honey
let
Badger, Honey Badger, are you in? Honey Badger.
Hey,
yeah.
Contracts right there. 3 years, 30 mil.
Right? Yeah, and then you got I'm actually excited about Kazir White. I won't lie, I actually think this kid could turn out to be something special if we develop him right. There's that key word again, develop. So, let's talk about the defensive side a little bit. How you guys feeling about the coaches and the players this coming year?
I don't really trust Jonathan Gannon. I think he is Jim Schwartz 2.0. I think, like, anybody that comes into Philadelphia and you upset Fletcher Cox because of your system, something's not right. Like, he is your best, defensive player. You find a way, to get him attacking the ball. The worst thing you could do is to hire rookie head coaches or rookie, defensive coordinator first time up, and this guy wants to come in and tell Super Bowl winning guys, what they want to, what he wants to do. I think, his whole scheme it's sort of surrounded around not giving up the big play. But I'm not used to a Eagles defense that is weak. Like, Jim Johnson is not giving you 1 yard, bro. Like, you're going to work for it. You know what I mean? And, you talk about the days when the Eagles had Lito Shepherd, Sheldon Brown, Michael Lewis, Brian Dawkins, Jeremiah Trotter, Trent Cole, Javon Kurtz, Mike
Legends,
Madison.
man. Legends.
Legends. You know what I mean? Like, it was a style that we played. Like, even if we didn't have the best roster, what's my guy named Julio Hansen? He wasn't the best player, but one thing you weren't going to do is just get wide open, right? And I just think this new way of defense is just so soft. It's so not Philadelphia, and that's the problem. Like, it's not that I don't think Jonathan Gannon.
Well said, bro.
It's not that I don't think he can't do it. I just think it doesn't. You cannot bring. It's the same thing with Carson Wentz. And I think Jeff Lurie needs to understand this, and Howie Roseman needs to understand this. Be it a quarterback, be it a different defensive coordinator, be it a head coach. If you are scheming up on offense or defense and it's soft, you cannot play in Philadelphia because that's not our DNA. We have to stop bringing coaches and players to Philadelphia that are not wired to the blood that pumps in all of our hearts, bro. It's not going to work. I like Jonathan Gannon, but playing 20 million yards back is I'm done. I'm done. I'm used to guys, you know what I'm saying, getting in your face, you know what I'm saying, right there, you know, doing all of that. And let you know, man, this is Philly. And we give Chip Kelly a hard time, but I think he had one of the greatest quotes in Philadelphia history. Man, he said, I'm from Philly and we fight, man. And when you see these schemes that is not dipped, drowned, and sort of covered in fight and grit and nastiness, it's like, why are we watching? Right? So for me, Jonathan Gannon, I'll give him another year. Right now, you got some players. I don't want to hear any excuses. We gave you a Hassan Reddick. You can move him around. He could be your sort of ex-player, that Malcolm Jenkins kind of player, playing safety, nickel, just the kind of all-in-one guy. All right. Now you don't have any excuses. You have the draft capital. Go and get these guys. And I tweeted earlier today. I said, man, the Philadelphia Eagles, if I'm general manager, if I'm Howie Roseman, he calls me, he says, Pablo, what are we going to do in the draft? I say, Howie, this is what I want you to do. Go ahead, set some money aside, which it looks like you've already did with the Darius Slay contract. Call Tyrann Mathieu, bring him to Philadelphia. We're going to have him be our safety for the next 3-4 years till we find our guy. Now what we're going to do, because we have 3 first-round picks, I'm going up. I'm not being passive-aggressive, right? I'm going up, and I'm going to get Kyle Hamilton. Now you have a Tyrann Mathieu, Kyle Hamilton with the Darius Slay. This team can be elite now, right? So the Eagles, we just can't be soft. If we're going to continue to be soft, we're not going to have success because it does not fit who we are in Philadelphia.
Yo, can my man get a hand clap? I feel like yo, son, when you got up, well, I thought you was gonna jam me. I was getting excited. Yeah. Yo, I'm 100% agree with you. Gannon, I just don't want to see no Hassan Reddick covering slot tight ends. I just want him standing up and rushing the quarterback. Like, that's all Michael Parsons. That's all I want.
Mm-hmm.
That's all. I don't want no cuteness. No, none of this free Slurpees in the middle. I'm tired of that. The 7-Eleven, everything is open in the middle. You get a Slurpee, you get a burrito, you get a. Like, I'm tired of it. I'm tired of it. You know what I'm saying? So that's the one thing. And another thing, we got to get another defensive end. That has to happen. We have to get another defensive end. If it was me, I would say at 15, 16. We already know we're not going to get this. We're not drafting 3 players. We all know that, right? I'm going Lloyd. I want to get another linebacker in here. You know what I mean? I'm going to get a pass rush, and in the second round, I'm going to get a wide receiver. Mm-hmm. That's just where I'm coming from. And I'm going at the. I'm going defense. That's all. I'm going defense.
Go Heels, y'all! Go Heels!
Real quick, let me throw a scenario at you guys real fast. Now, this is not a Madden trade, okay? I swear to God, I took time and thought about this, okay? I always had a thought, why don't you take 19 and you trade back to like 25th, 26th with somebody in around that area, mid-20s, right? You pick up a first for next year and a second for this year, okay? Then you take those 2 seconds that you have this year and you trade them to get back up into the first, into the same area as you traded back to. So you have 2 picks at 15 and 16, and then you also have 2 picks at like 25, 26 or 26, 27. But that ultimately gives you 4 picks in the first round. Granted, we don't have any in the second, but you still can walk away with possibly 4 first-round talents if you do it right.
Yeah, I like it. I like it. I would definitely use one of those later round picks, to bring in even though he got injured, I'm going to go ahead and bring in David Ajabo, right? I got a Devin Lloyd, right? Let's just say we go ahead and get a Jordan Davis, or then we go get a wide receiver. Then you follow it up with a David Ajabo. You talk about David Ajabo, Brandon Graham, Fletcher Cox, Javon Hargrave, a trending upward Milton Williams. I know a lot of people are low up Derek Barnett, but they got him for good value. Josh Sweat. The Philadelphia Eagles, if they play it right, man, we could come out of this draft with one of the top defenses in the league. So, and I know we're all for Howie Roseman, but he's so much a part of this because it's going to be on his shoulders to get it done. But that's something I would do. That's something I would do, especially if I can get a first for next year, still stay, in the first round. It's something that I would do. And it's something I actually hope that the Eagles will do. So we'll see.
What do you think, King?
I mean, this draft is top heavy. I mean, was it top 30? Hell yeah, I'm going to do it. I'm going to go do it.
I mean, it's reasonable, right? Two seconds can land you in the back end of the first, right? I mean, that's not too far-fetched.
Yeah, I mean, because the draft capital that we have, you can go ahead and go and get those talented players where you need those spots, especially at we need another corner. We don't have another corner. We need another corner out there. If you can go ahead and get up there and get Stingley from LSU, you know what I mean? That's a good thing.
Elam's
yeah, you know what I'm saying? So like that's good draft value right there you're getting.
Yeah.
Yes, I know he only played 10 games. I know people been bugging on me about that. I get it. yeah, for real. Like you see my mock draft, they like, yo, for real, son? Like you really gonna put like, yo, chill out. Y'all already yelled at me about Lindenbaum. I didn't know Kelsey was coming back. Stop, just chill. Damn. You know what I'm saying? Let me be. Damn.
Brother can make a mistake. Damn. It's all good.
Yeah, let me be a GM for 20 minutes. But I mean, that's just something, you know what I mean? Like I just see, let the draft board fall to you. And that's what I need for Howie to do. Listen to his scouts out there, his people around him. Let the draft fall to you. Last year, you had a good draft. It was an okay draft, but you had your mans in there that didn't want to give you a pound. He let my man hang. Howie was like, oh, man, come on, man. But Milton Williams actually came out to be pretty good.
Yo, listen, man. I'm gonna tell you this right now. I feel you guys. It should totally be defense. Listen, we got some future stars on this defense right now that are vets who are coming to the end of their careers. So we need future stars to take their spots. No lie, Fletcher Cox is one of them. My dream draft this year for our first round, for our first 3 picks. 15, I am taking an edge. I don't care if we got Riddick or not. An edge is coming off the board at 15, whether that's Johnson, Karlaftis, or Walker.
Hold on. How you say his last name?
Huh? Karlaftis?
Okay. I can't say Bull's name.
Oh, yeah. No, I'm pretty sure it's Karlaftis.
Yeah.
But or I'm taking Walker from Georgia. And then number 16, I've always said it and I'm standing by it. Number 16, hands down, is Jordan Davis. I'm taking that man. He's not leaving past 16. We walk away with him. Listen, man, if you can get Walker, if you can get Walker and Jordan Davis, no lie, think about it. You have Riddick. You have Jordan Davis, Milton Williams, Fletcher Cox, Brandon Graham, Hassan Hargraves. And then you also have Sweat and Barnett pretty much will be gone next year, I believe. So it was just like a 1-year thing. Right. So that's a dominant.
He has 2 years.
I know, but I believe they made it 2 years so they can release him after 1 and not take a big hit. But no, but dude, that's a dominant D line. I mean, that is scary good. I mean, think about that.
But this is my thing. So there's these pass rushers that are the top 15. They're all unique, right? We got Kalafis where he has short arms, but he's powerful. You know what I mean. He gonna throw you back. He gonna throw you back.
You
And his
going back.
backstory is that's somebody you want to cheer for. I believe he will fill the city of Philadelphia because of his backstory. Is it Jermaine? Is it Jermaine Johnson? Jermaine Johnson.
Jermaine
I
Johnson.
forgot about him.
Jermaine Johnson.
Talented. He's
Very
talented.
talented.
Very
Yes.
talented. Your words can't even explain it. Shout out to Gail. He sent me some film of him at the Senior Bowl Reese's, and my jaw dropped. I said, "This dude is definitely going to go top 12. I don't even think he'll be there at 15." And then you got Hitcherson. Well, he won't even be there. He's probably going to go to number 1. You know what I'm saying? But like this is
Wait, who's going number 1?
Hitcherson from Michigan, and then
No,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
said Walker. I
Yeah.
said Walker.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Yeah, Walker, and then you have Ajabo.
Yeah.
I feel bad for Ajabo, bro.
Yeah.
Like tearing your Achilles, man, and you're an athletic specimen like him. The explosion, the firepower that you're coming from your legs in that 3-point stand or 4-point stand, whatever you want to call it. I feel like him being young, I think you can pick him at the second round. I think you can do something that way. He's going to set out for a year, but bro, he's a beast. He's a beast.
No, I
Yeah,
agree.
yeah,
I
that's the
agree, bro.
argument
He has raw talent. Like,
Yeah.
I mean,
Athletic.
listen, Ajabo didn't play that long, and yeah, granted, Hutchinson probably did take a lot of pressure off of him, but this dude was a dog. I mean, dude,
Yeah.
how many fumbles did he create? How many? Like, he always finds the ball with his hand all the time, forcing it out. He kind of has that BG effect a little bit, he really does.
That's what he
Yeah,
reminds me of.
and he's got pure raw power. He's got pure raw talent, and he's not even polished, dude. And look what this kid has done. Imagine what you can do when you're done polishing this turd. It's going to be a golden turd. You know what I mean? And it's going to be one hell of a one. It's going to be awesome. I'm telling you. Like, no lie. Like, right now he's a turd, but as soon as that turd's polished, man, it's going to be amazing. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I'm not polishing no turd, but
hypothetical turd, my guy. Come on.
That's right. No, we're trying to listen. We're trying to polish a turd right now, and I will say the reasoning for that is because all of this draft talk sounds great. Don't get me wrong, but this is the biggest problem when it comes to the draft.
That's how he
And
rose.
we get into every pick that we have. Who is picking the player? And this is the thing with defense. We seen it last year where what's his face was really irritated with Mark Donahoe. I was really irritated with Howie that he should have picked somebody else, or he should have stayed, or didn't he want Christian Barmore or something, and he took Milton Williams instead because it was a first to second round transition, and Jonathan Gannon was all pumped and everything that he got Milton Williams. That's the biggest problem right now when we're talking about defensive personnel. Is it going to end up being somebody that Howie wants, or is it going to end up being somebody that Jonathan Gannon wants? That is going to be the conflict that we're going to have to work through, and that's what led to part of the demise with Jim Schwartz, where Jim Schwartz wanted specific personnel. Howie didn't give it to him. And what ended up happening, Schwartz had to settle for lesser talent. Like he want a Kenneth Murray or the other good linebacker that came out of that draft, and he ended up not getting it and had to settle for Davion Taylor. Mm-hmm. How much is Howie Roseman going to get in the way with another defensive coordinator, especially one that's less talented as Jonathan Gannon, and that's less talented than Jim Schwartz in terms of experience? How is that supposed to help benefit the coaching staff that you're putting in place?
In all honesty, man, I honestly don't care who's picking as long as they
Thank
can
you,
play.
Marianne.
As long as they can play. If these guys come out and they play and they ball out, I don't care. But the moment they come out and they start sucking, well, I'm going to really, really regret going to a censored channel. That's all I can say.
Yeah, that's the problem. That's the exact problem. Is Howie going to pick somebody that he wants, or is he going to pay attention to the scouting department who comes up with the draft board, who feels that that X player, Y player, Z player are to our research are the best fits for this football team, or is Howie going to go a different direction and be like, well, due to analytics, we feel that this guy is still going to be able to give us the same amount of production as somebody else. It's just based on analytics instead of team fit.
And real quick on Joey's comment here, he said we're all going to be wrong, but he can't really F the 15 and 16 up, can he? Two words, JJ and Rager. Yeah, he can. He surely can.
Yeah.
Sidney Jones.
What I'll say about Howie Roseman as it relates to the draft is this, man. Like he is a guy who he tries to depend on the numbers and the data. These buzzwords that these guys use and the metrics and all of that. But see, the problem with Howie is you can't have a money guy's mentality trying to talent evaluate. You know what I mean? It doesn't marry each other. You got to be able to know talent. You know what I mean? And if you don't know talent, you just don't know talent, right? So for me, that is the biggest thing. That's the biggest caveat. We got 3 first-round picks, but it's Howie Roseman, and I do agree with Joey. I don't think he can mess it up. It's just too much. I mean, the talent is oozing even down in the second and third rounds, bro. Like there are second round wide receivers. Honestly, John Mechie, wide receiver out of Alabama. George Pickens, wide receiver out of Georgia, right? Christian Watson, wide receiver out of North Dakota State. Right? These are guys who could easily go in the first round, right? The problem is, when we get to the draft room, I need you not to look at these prospects as numbers. Look at these prospects as prospects and players. Because when you look at a prospect as a number, that's when you bring in a J.J. Arcega-Whiteside. Oh, what was the first thing that everybody said when the Eagles drafted him? He's this big red zone threat. He can go up and get the football. Did none of that in Philadelphia. Oh, DK Metcalf. Oh yeah, the injury, the neck injury. Philadelphia Eagles have some nerve talking about injury when you got 30 players sitting outside of a blue tent against the Giants. Let's just stop this madness. All right, like stop it. Our medical staff has probably been the worst medical staff outside of last year for the last 10, 15 years. All right. So for me, we're all saying the same thing. We got the 3 first-round picks, and that's what's so like messing me up mentally. Is like, man, we are right. The Eagles could be the Bengals next year. We can, but will Howie Roseman drop his prize so that we can do that? Does it mean more to you as a GM to pick the right guy because you picked the guy, or are you going to finally put the fan base first and say, you know what, I only got 3 years here? If it was me, I'm sitting up saying, I got a Super Bowl. My legacy is sort of written, even though I did some bad things. I brung a Super Bowl here. Let me just try to get the best guys in so that the Philadelphia Eagles, the next generation moving forward, the next general manager coming in doesn't have to put out a fire.
I will say in regards to the chat that Marianne Johnson points out no football people in the front office. Oh, there is football people in there. They're just not listened to.
They're not listening.
That's the biggest problem. Joey pretty much hit it on the head. Best player available. And like when you go BPA, you almost throw team fit
out the window, just regardless of the fact that you understand the talent of the player that's right in front of your face, that you have on the table to be ready to make, like to be a difference maker for your football team. So you can almost say that it doesn't necessarily matter whether they're a fit or not. That's part of that is up to the reason that you compiled this coaching staff together, is that they have to make it work, like to a fault. But regardless of who you bring in, they have to make it work. And as far as first round drafting is concerned, there is a lot of exceptions in there, especially when you take into consideration the depth at the wide receiver position in the draft. There's plenty of corners, there's plenty of D linemen, there's offensive linemen for Jeff Stoutland. You don't even have to pick one early, as we know with Stout, who to me is the greatest offensive line coach in football right now, that he can make something out of anybody besides Andre Dillard. That's not Stoutland's fault. But I mean, yeah, when it boils down to it, that's just going to be the biggest battle that we're going to have to fight as fans. As are we going to bring personnel in that suits what Jonathan Gannon wants to do, or is it going to be the Howie Roseman show all over again? But yeah. And I do agree with East Coast Gridiron on Christian Watson out of North Dakota State, coincidentally enough. But yeah, I mean, for as athletic Christian is, he's not a very polished receiver, and I don't think that he would be a good fit for Philly, even though like you're passing up on a guy that's that he's 50-50, big frame. He's like 6'3", 6'4", I believe. He's blisteringly quick. He's twitchy, yada, yada. He's just not as polished as a receiver when you look at guys like Garrett Wilson, or Jameson Williams, Chris Olave, receivers like that. So, but if it comes down to it and we don't take a receiver in the first, then would he be around that consideration of selection? Sure, but yeah, no, those are my quick thoughts before I head out of here.
Yeah, just really quick on Christian Watson. I think we gotta, because I know Dante from East Coast, and shout out to his channel, his platform. You guys got to understand, Dante, this is for you, sir. Christian Watson is 6'4". Garrett Wilson is 5'10", 5'11", 6 foot max. If you look at Christian Watson and how he comes out of his breaks, it's different, right? So I think how we evaluate Christian Watson is a little bit unfair. I mean, he's 6'4", 6'5", running a 4.3. Here we go. We are getting ready to pull a Howie Roseman. Look at DK Metcalf, see the talent, but then say, oh, well, he's not. No, what he put on tape, and this is what I love about Christian Watson. A lot of times guys, they perform on tape, but then they get to the combine, and it's not what we saw on tape. What you saw on tape with Christian Watson is what you saw in the combine, because it's like, this dude is 6'5", running like that. He gets to the combine, he blows it up 4.3. He's somebody, if he's there in the second round, I'm taking him all day long.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. No, man, I agree with you on that. I'm a huge Christian Watson supporter as well. But listen, guys, we have been live for 2 hours and 42 minutes. Everyone kind of has, families to get to. I appreciate you guys. This is kind of what the new rebrand is about. I said I'd explain it a little bit. I'm trying to get it more adult content in here where we can all just kind of chill out like this, like we did tonight, and just talk shop about the team that we love the most, and not be judgmental, and just drop knowledge while we do it. I appreciate each and every one of you here, man. I really do. You guys are all people I look up to. You guys all I have worked with before, and we have that comfortability. And, I can't thank you guys enough. I'm going to start doing more one-on-one live streams as well, so I can, start getting the chat more involved. I'm going to start dropping videos, and, talking about things just for me. But yeah, man, there's a lot going on, but this was a great first stream with you guys to start the rebrand. So thank you so much.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate you. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Sure.
Sorry I was late.
Hey, dude. Hey, listen, man. I told you come whenever you can, and I just appreciate you coming, man.
Appreciate
Yes, sir. Thanks again,
definitely
bro,
need to
for
get
having
y'all.
me.
I gotta get all y'all on the Swoop Boy podcast. I definitely got to do that.
Oh, for sure, man. But yeah, why don't we go around one last time? Y'all give yourselves a shout out, and we'll get out of here, man.
For sure. Yo, you know what it is, man. It's King. Win or lose, man. We still fly. Follow us up. King Fly John on IG. King Kincaid on Twitter. I am going to be home for the draft. I was supposed to be in Vegas, but my job is like, we need you back home. We need you back in Baltimore. So I'll be back home in Philadelphia watching the birds.
I'm sorry to hear that, man.
You hear me?
I said I'm sorry to hear that.
It's all good. It's all good. I love coming home. I love coming home.
I know, but I'm sure, like you'd be any guy. Draft home. It's not a hard choice, I mean, come on.
I was supposed to be in Vegas. I was actually supposed to be in Vegas for it.
That's what I'm talking about. So, I mean, if you had a choice between going to the draft or being at home and watching it, I mean, it's not a hard.
I'm gonna be at the link. I'm gonna be at the party. You know what I'm saying? So I'm in heaven now. So it is what it is.
Okay.
Make the best out of it.
Yeah, you guys can check me out over on Twitter at Pablo Gary 2, and also I have a YouTube channel, Pablo Gary, as well. Yeah, man, always willing to talk ball. Thank you, AK Eagles, for having me on. As always, Birdman 951, Lenny Endzone, King. Thank you, man, for just coming on, man. It was a great time talking ball with all you guys.
Yes, sir. Appreciate your company, man, and you got a lot of knowledge, bro. I admire what you bring to the table, man.
Appreciate it.
No problem.
And I am the Birdman _951, and I will be holding it down for my Eagles gang in Las Vegas Friday at the Golden Nugget. I will be representing the birds in the whole costume along with Philly Sports Guy. And I'm going to be around a lot of different companies, mostly a lot of Raider fans, but it's all good. I'm going to hold it down for Eagles all day, every day. And hopefully someone spots me out there and I get some support out there. But it's all for a good reason. Elite super fans, I'm a part of them now, and we're just getting that awareness. Stop the violence, the fan violence, and the bullying thing. I want to be a good representative for the Philadelphia Eagles because I love this team so much and the fan base. So it's just like I want people to know, as much as you say that we're the bad guys, there's also some good guys representing the birds all day, every day. And that is the Birdman _951. So I'll see you guys soon.
And before my dogs start to have a war down here again.
I wish Jalen Reagor ran that fast.
I know, right? He's only 8 months old too.
Can we get into the punt returns?
I know.
The next Air Bud right there, man.
Air Bud.
He's full of energy. Ain't nobody catching him. But no, as I said earlier in the stream, what happened to the end of my channel, and now, well, like Birdman advertising me, cat's out of the bag now, and the resurrection of Lindy Endzone has begun. It'll be a slower transition, of course. Got to get back into the swing of things and where I left off. And there's some changes that I want to implement. Changes. One of the only things that we know is constant, and sometimes change is a good thing. And I think I'm due for some of it, and whether it's content decisions and whatnot. But I do thank everybody for allowing me
for allowing me back on the platform once again, and to all subscribers that have stayed, loyal to the channel. I didn't lose like all of my fan base or whatnot, even though I did say a goodbye. But it's good to be back again, and and as for AK, you already know the deal, man. Still remember the beginning of your channel, and and how it's starting from just some simple draft coverage, hanging out with me, and well, it looks like I'll be hanging out with you this time, and I thought I'd stay true to the promise, and AK and I will be doing some draft coverage on the draft, so definitely looking forward to that. But looks like Lindy Endzone will be scoring some more touchdowns here, and good to be back at it once again, hanging out with everybody on the panel.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you, and welcome back, man. So I really don't have an outro. I'll just kind of wing it. Once again, I appreciate each and every one who's came out tonight to hang with us, on this rebrand. And, I am AK Eagles. This is the AK Eagles podcast. This is where the elite Eagles talk happens. We come in here and we talk shop, and we just kind of let it out. You can like what we say, you can not like what we say, but in the end, we're just trying to speak from the heart and try and speak facts as much as we can. We do not do this with notes. We do not do this with anything. We're just talking from the heart. Everything we've talked about tonight, it was just talk. So that's how we do it here. And once again, appreciate everyone. Fly, Eagles, fly. Have a great night. Until next time, I am AK Eagles. We out.